the answer for that clue. I believe it was Joey who got the last clue correct, so we'll go back to Joey here. The board is yours.
Seasons 100.
Seasons for 100. Let's do it. In Season 3 of Apex Legends, this hop-up was introduced for the EVA 8 Auto and the G7 Scout. Quick clicks from Nades.
What is double tap?
What is the double tap trigger? Correct, 100 points. 4 Nades back up to an even 0. Okay, what are we taking next?
Let's do Smash Ultimate Roster for 100.
Okay, we're going to mix it up with the Smash Ultimate Roster, 100 points here. This Smash character is from the Dragon Quest franchise.
Oh, no.
I hope you studied up on your Smash roster. Anybody want to get in there?
Nah, that ain't me.
I have 0 clue.
3, 2, 1. Who is Hero?
Oh,
Who is Hero from Dragon Quest? Okay. Choice is still yours, Nades.
All right, I'll stay away from that. Let's go back to Season for 200.
I thought that might be the choice. Seasons for 200 here. In Season 1 of Apex Legends, this legend was introduced. Joey in there.
What is Octane?
Yes, Octane was introduced in Season 1. 100 points, or that should be 200 points, I should say, for Joey. Back up in the positives. Okay. Are we going back to Seasons? Are you feeling lucky with the Smash Ultimate roster?
Definitely Seasons 400.
Seasons for 400. Okay, Joey, maybe wanting to take the lead away. This season of Apex Legends introduced arenas. We're looking for the season number. Nades.
What is Season 12?
Incorrect. Minus 400 for Nades. Joey, Z Davis.
No,
Come
I'm
on,
good.
Davis.
No, I'm good.
All right.
Joey's going to buzz in.
What is Season 11?
Incorrect.
All right, I'll come in. I'll come in.
Okay, Z Davis is going to go
I'll
for it.
come in. Is it Season 10?
Incorrect. Minus 400 points there for Z Davis. So interestingly enough, the point gaps remain the same. What is Season 9? What is Season 9 of Apex Legends? All right, Joey, the choice is yours once again. You got burned on 400. Are you going to go for 300 here?
Yeah, Seasons 300.
Okay. Let's see. You have a chance to tie it up. This is the name of the 13th season of Apex Legends.
Oh, God.
No.
I have no idea.
Nobody
good.
wants to get in there.
I'm
3, 2, 1. What is Saviors? What is Saviors, the 13th season there? All right. All we have left is Smash Ultimate Roster, so we'll run through these. We'll see how quickly. For 100 points, your first of the final 3 clues. This Smash character is from the Metal Gear Solid franchise. Z Davis with the quick buzzer.
Who is Snake? Solid Snake?
Correct. 100 points for Z Davis. 2 clues remaining. Let's go to our third clue in the Smash Ultimate Roster category here. This Smash character is from the Persona 5 game.
I don't remember the name.
Anybody
I know.
want to get in there? Oh, Z Davis maybe knows.
Who is Joker?
That is correct. 100 points for Z Davis. Well played there, getting Joker on the board. And our final clue of the day, Z Davis gets it correct. So Z Davis is going to get the clue.
Oh.
And it is our daily double. It was hiding all the way at the bottom of the Smash Ultimate roster. So you can wager up to 200 points.
Yeah, I'll do 200 points.
Let's go. Let's go for it. Your daily double clue here. This canine Smash character is from the Animal Crossing franchise.
Oh, no. I don't know it.
3,
Who is it? I think it's... Yeah, I don't know it.
1. It is Who is Isabelle?
Isabel. Yeah.
Isabel. So minus 200 points there for Z Davis. And interestingly enough, we've got a Jeopardy champion with no points on the board. Z Davis takes the win there in anticlimactic fashion, we'll say. Gentlemen, thanks so much for taking the time. Best of luck here tonight. Of course, Joey and Z Davis, you guys are representing for Tyson week here. Solid performance last night. Looking to build on that. Nades and the Razor roster looking to ramp up here as the season continues. So best of luck to all three of you here tonight. I'm looking forward to watching the fun.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, a little bit of Jeopardy here at Series E for you to get ready for the start of the day. We're going to say goodbye to these gents and bring you back here into the studio as we get ready. We've got 6 games ahead of us here tonight. I'm certainly looking forward to it. I know my good friends Jamerson and T Squared are feeling much the same. We had them here last night. We had, honestly, a great performance front to back from a lot of these teams, and I think it's only going to get better tonight. We've got even more talent coming in to compete here for our second open night of the week. And we'll have to see. I would love to, if we possibly can, get a quick look at our overall standings going into tonight's competition. Of course, going into last night, Team Intel was looking to chase down Vizio and Excedrin at the top of the standings, and then they had a really good performance last night, whereas Vizio and Excedrin kind of had a not as impressive of a night, and that means that Intel, the first team to cross that 300-point threshold, as well as snatching away the lead from Vizio, and Vizio drops all the way down to 4th. Now that is not anything to be too concerned about as you look at those standings. Very, very close, honestly, through the top 4, even the top 5, as Tyson still got a bit of a ways to go, but is very much within striking distance of all of these teams. And Nerf jumping up into that top 3. They've got a 1-point lead on Vizio. So the competition here at the start of the season, very, very tight. A lot of squads have really had some good shining moments here early on in the season, and it's funny because you throw back to draft and the discussions that I had with CEO Tyler Endress that this was likely going to be the most contested, tightest competition we've seen in Series E through 5 seasons, and the early results would agree with that. So we'll have to see how things shake out here tonight. Does Intel make it 3 nights in a row? We'll find out very soon. But our casters are ready. We're looking to get the players into the service, so let's kick off another night here of Series E Apex Legends.
You are the...
Hey, welcome everybody.
Series E Apex Legends.
All of World's Edge explodes into chaos, and G2 round the corner, taking what is rightfully there.
War with our Ash player Musin involved, and it's going to quickly switch to the Peacekeeper, putting down damage quick as
that Fury starts it off with the devotion and does so much work. May have single-handedly clutched it for Vizio, and with the last shotgun shot, does it.
Let's get the games underway, man. I'm ready to go. All right, welcome everyone to another night of Series E. Like Yeso said, though, because of the preparations that are going on for champs that'll be taking place next week in Raleigh, North Carolina, some more pro teams decided to bow out, and we're going to have a second open night, which completely understandable. $2 million on the line next weekend, and so they want to get in as much practice as possible, especially because practice had been delayed for about a month and a half. So they need all the practice they can get, definitely for sure. But right now, it's all about our open teams and our partnered squads. We got 6 matches that'll be taking place today. Of course, 3 will be on World's Edge and 3 will be on Storm Point. We have $500 on the line. Everything works out just as usual. Of course, kill points and placement points mattered. Last night, Tom, we got to see a scary sight. It's Team Intel already early on in the season starting to fire up.
Yeah, Intel, as predicted, right? I mean, not only did they end the previous season of Series E really strong, they were having one of the best ALGS games too. I don't know if you got an opportunity to see Jamerson when we watched Team Intel play. We did a listen-in with them, and I had got the pleasure of casting that game. And Fearless popped off with a 10-kill performance. The dude was going absolutely nutty. Let's take a look at the rosters today. We have a couple of really big hitters in here, especially Xset. Take a look at Klein, Kenny, and Hakulo coming through. Excited to see what they're going to be able to do. teams that are struggling right now in terms of partner teams, I think Razor is definitely one of those squads that's really trying to find their footing. You have team Running Late. That's me on a consistent basis. That's hundreds, Double O Negative, and Kubski. Totally feel that team name. But I'm excited to see how these squads do. You have Colors Blight and AC as well, so that's going to be a really cool team to watch. I'm excited. We saw amazing skills from our open teams yesterday. Someone Sinus is back. One Brain 2 M&K is here. A lot of really good teams here. I mean, Brandon played phenomenal from Spectre yesterday. All of those players were out of their minds.
Yeah, we got to see some good stuff out of a lot of our partnered squads. Unfortunately, we don't have Matt Pickett and his squad here tonight, but still, it's great to see all of these returning names up against our partnered squads. We have to remember, by the end of the season, only a few will remain. So right now, it's a race to just make sure you secure your spot in the top 3 to make sure you do not get relegated. One of the few teams, of course, that are running into issues right now. Team Razor does have to pick it up a little bit, and we'll see if they can try and find out what's going on. They have plenty of time in this season. We still have about 2 months at least of regulation play to really try and figure things out. I mean, we saw what can happen with only half a season. That's what our Team Intel squad did when they got picked up late in the season of Series E. Replace that roster. They were able to run it back and come out in overall 2nd place because they were having week in, week out 100+ point performances. And that is the difference right now from our 6th place squad with basically everyone else in the lobby. So it's not insurmountable. It's something that they can definitely try and do, especially now that, you know, we're in this kind of marathon setting of a season.
I'm cheering for Team Razor. I want to see this be a very close race, and I know how talented these players are. I think that everyone does too. Hollow, Box T, Blakeu, but they just haven't been able to get anything going in the early games, right? They're not even getting into the points where they're top 5 or, you know, something that is getting placement. It's like they're kind of struggling in team compositions, finding their style, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe today's going to be the day. Maybe this is going to be the week. I really am hoping that they get something going on. It's going to be just a confidence thing, right? And I think once they get a really good day for this season under their belt, they're going to just believe in themselves, because I know when they're playing in ranked and they're playing in scrims that they're cleaning up, but maybe there's just something going on where they're feeling a little bit of the pressure and they're trying to get a, you know, Series E is tough, Jamerson, because every lobby, every single day is different. So you have to be able to adapt and find your play style. And I think that's what Intel has been able to do, and that's why they've been so successful. They understand how they're going to play. They're going to take a lot of fights. They're going to build that confidence. So don't be surprised once Razor starts getting a little bit of building blocks under their belt that they're going to continue to shine. But they just need to get it going. There's a reason that they're here. There's a reason that they qualified. They're a darn good team. But you can see at the points, they're almost getting doubled by a handful of our teams here.
Yeah, I think no one's questioning the ability of Razor. It is all more than anything else about that comfort. And like you said, every single day is a completely different day. How the lobby plays out is completely different. And I felt that, you know, coming from the Challenger circuit, they would be a little bit more accustomed to that. One of the things that we saw, though, was that they did some late game rallies when it came down to the final games where they need to qualify for the next LCQ, and in similar situations, they were popping off when they were popping off with the Bloodhound composition. But again, no one is questioning their ability. I think they're doing a fantastic job of being able to call the macro. They know where these rings are going. They're able to put themselves in those positions. It's holding on to those positions that we're not seeing as much out of. So we'll see what kind of adaptations they can make. We should be talking a little bit more about Tyson, though, because this is Tyson week. Another team that we have high expectations for. I think we have high expectations for all of our squads, any squad that makes it into Series E, and really in general. But for Team Tyson, Team Redeem, one of the most consistent squads that came out of Challenger Circuit. They were taking Challenger Circuit week 1, week 2, back to back, and maintaining the top 5, top 3 performance throughout, basically. This is another squad that we're looking to really climb up the ranks. But here we go. Heading into the first game of the day for our second open night of the week. Let's join on board with Team Tyson, which we noted yesterday on World's Edge, Tom. They started off on Skyhook. They decided to opt for Fragment West when they noted that it was actually free.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, going on over to Tyson, it looks like they're going back on over towards Skyhook, or no, they're actually going to switch it up. But we saw what they were kind of made of the other day, and it looks like they are going Lava Fisher instead. But I feel like Tyson is getting to these end games, but they're not closing out the games, and that's the struggle that we saw yesterday. I think a lot of that on Storm Point was completely valid in terms of what they were doing, but they just weren't able to close it out. And I would love to see them with Watson. If you're going to get into these situations and you're not going to go for kills and you're going to get on over towards the zone, then you need to be able to secure these final moments of being able to get the little macro plays and forcing players into one another. So hopefully today is a different story for them, and they can get things going on because they are a very talented team, like you said, coming out of that challenger circuit. I think we saw a lot of different, weird endings. Remember, Excedrin was a team that had a basically free win, and then they allowed a team to go. Oh, nice gold bag coming in for Z Davis. He didn't ping that one for Joey. Maybe even take that and go and give it to him a little bit later. But I really liked the way that Excedrin was playing. I think I liked how Tyson was playing. And oh my goodness, another zone over towards the east side like we saw yesterday.
Yeah, we can't really say like, oh, it's a compositional thing, because we were seeing teams like Team Start a Fight, who were also running the Watson, that were able to succeed. Granted, they were gifted some really fantastic rings, like similar to one we're seeing right now. Oxygen put themselves in really great spots with the Watson composition. So it's about being able to maintain the positions that you end up holding out. They are going to be a little bit slow on this rotate because they did have to make an on-the-fly call here to go on over towards Lava Fissure, excuse me. Over at staging, though, Vizio ends up finding themselves in a fight right now. They've got a fill-in. 6 is coming in here. Team Intel ends up getting the first frags. Gamertown gone along with W Key. The 2 of our open teams have been knocked out so far. We're down to 18 squads. Vizio, though, still engaged in this fight right now. And really, it's only Sung who's got the upgrade on his armor, unfortunately. So they're not feeling the greatest in trying to take this fight, especially when they don't have any access to the high ground quite yet.
Love watching 6 play. He's also one of those players that can play a handful of different legends. So we'll see how he does on Gibby, but he's also been an entry fragger. We've seen some amazing Wraith plays from him in the ALGS in the past, and also here in Series E. Now on board with Razor, who's switched up their composition. They're busting out the Seer today. And this is some of the things that we talked about before, where they've changed up their composition a lot, Jamerson, and we'll find out what works for them. But I would love to see them just take something and kind of stick with it here. I think that that's one of the keys. It's, a lot of times people think, oh man, let's change something. It's all mental, man. Like, it's like, oh, you have one good game with a certain legend. It's like, this is so situational in all of these different areas. Just play whatever's going to be comfortable with you and just really put it together. Like right now, they have no loot, right? You see they're struggling on cells. There's multiple POIs that were being uncontested. We saw Landslide was free. Vizio's going to go and take that loot away from Landslide. Epicenter was free. Dome was free. A lot of different spots were open. So we'll see what Razor does. I mean, winning the game without any cells is virtually impossible. So hopefully they can get something going.
Yeah, we'll see. Vizio might have an opportunity to try and maybe double back to come back for the Replicator here to utilize that. The team on top of Landslide, though, is forcing them back, unfortunately. 6 gets a nice little upgrade there. Doesn't have to use the trivial amount of heals that he might have had there. Well, Tyson shows up, and they heard the crafting. They heard the shots being rung out by that 30-30 up top. Z Davis ends up taking a lot of damage here, yanking away some of the replicating that was being done. So far, though, Team Tyson, it looks like they are looking to try and full commit for this one. See Joey Blackout set up for it, but oh no, Flick, their Valkyrie, ends up going down. The charge rifle from BMT just absolutely demolishing him. Joey Blackout might be next. Z Davis completely separated from him as well. And now this 2v3 looking real bad for Team Tyson. We'll see, though. There's a 1v1 down here. Oh, no reg from Z Davis, unfortunately, onto that Wraith player, but he does back away, has a blue armor swap.
Did you not see the blue armor
swap?
swap?
He wants to use.
I mean, I get it, but it's a nice fence. So what's that blue armor? What's up with that blue armor, Z Davis? Come on, man, that was free, bro.
Yeah, he only had 22 damage on his Evo shield, so like it wasn't like he was going to upgrade his anytime soon. So the swap would have been much better, especially for the 3 cells of the bat you end up using here. Team Vizio, not out of hot water quite yet. Finding another fight over here at Countdown for now. They do have the high ground. Born on the right side needs to heal up, though, but he's still going to hold the angle for now. Checks for purple, Arcstar out, and it just forces them out into the open again. It's going to have to come down to 6 to try and cut them off. But it looks like this team is successfully getting away from them. But again, we know that there were multiple squads over by that landslide area, so they might be just running into them. We might have a 3, maybe 4 team engagement very shortly here.
One of the most cringe areas to fight, too, is landslide. I mean, realistically, it's so open. There's nowhere to really hide. it's not surprising to see action happen over there and continue to happen over there. But when you're a competitor, you're trying to avoid landslide, realistically. I mean, there's so many different areas to go and rotate from that. Teams come out from Fragment, teams come out from Harvester. We already saw where Z Davis and their squad came out of Lava Fisher, I believe. So you got to be very, very careful over there. And another one of these really popular spots is pushing on over towards the Dorito building, too, away from that Harvester side. Team Intel just gets scanned over towards the side. I believe that was a Bloodhound scan, too. And I would love to see where everyone is going to predict where this zone's going to go. Because right now it's looking like a lot of no-name outside this Fragment area in terms of setting up. Majority of Geyser was in too, but I don't think we're going to see a Geyser zone based on where the teams are setting up.
Ultimately, for Team Intel, though, they're happy if this northern side stays a little bit quieter. They want to try and possibly find these fights, but because they know that it's 2 teams in no name right now, they have to wait. They have to be a little bit more patient here, and so they're going to take this opportunity just to loot up a little bit more over on the Frag East side. We'll have access to that Ring 2 scan as well in just a minute, and so would much better improve their chances for the late game to be able to get that scan first before they engage upon anyone. But it looks like the action might just be coming towards them. There's another team with a very similar game plan already taking position over that beacon building for the time being. Now Fearless will have access to the top of this train station, play off that glass if he wants to, and have maybe better access to the high ground. But for the time being, it's all holding, and eventually the action will break out here in Fragment East.
What you'll notice about Team Intel that's different than other teams is their willingness to kind of just stay out into the open, right? They're like, all right, well, everyone else is going to set inside of a building where they think the zone is going to end. We're going to run around and try to hunt teams down. And that just goes to show that they're willing to kind of adapt on the fly and really make maneuvers based on the situations that are coming in front of them. Nice shot there from Fearless. You can see the 45 purple armor onto the team that ended up skyward diving. But this is how you get better. Realistically, you go and you kind of just test the waters, and that's how you've even gotten this good to begin with. Because, you know, before scrims, before there was competitive play, before there was Series E, all we could do was play on Kings Canyon, normal games, just by yourself or with your group of 3 or whatever it was, and you had to constantly push the limits and push the envelope of the game. And I feel like that's what they continue to do here, even in a tournament situation when money's on the line, which I have a lot of respect for.
DSO0, which was, I believe, one of the teams that was over by No Name, ended up going down there. So Team Intel might have an opportunity once they get that beacon scan to hop on over there to try and find an isolated fight. For someone's Sinus, though, they find themselves inside of Geyser currently, and in a pretty decent building. They've got the pings down on to that high ground that we saw being utilized yesterday. A lot of loot going on over being picked up there, so that's going to be nice. They've already got the purples and the blue to play off of. It just needs Locke at this point to try and get himself up to that purple to be in fighting shape for this. But the position, it's fine. It doesn't look like they'll be able to get too many kill points from this area, though. Joining on board with MLPL outside of Overlook currently, trying to rotate their way on in. Team Intel has spotted out a squad just to the south of Fragment East right now. A defensive bombardment onto Mooney, and he's able to just easily sidestep that one. It looks like possibly a third-party attempt coming out, a team pushing down from that connecting area. Impulse first on the line. He's got to be careful with this one. Wonder if they were able to scout out that there was another squad possibly showing up.
The big 2 damage, Jamerson. That's a full send if I've ever seen one. And, whoa, oh no, what's up with the servers today, man? That's the second time we've seen a no registration coming through. Mooney running into Exet, and that's not what you expect, right? Your Team Intel, you're running in, you're trying to hunt down one of the teams, but now you're running into 2 separate teams. You know Exet's coming in from behind. This is going to be D2. Nice shots with the Eve-8. That purple bolt puts in some serious work, but understanding that they're getting third-partied by another pro team means back off. And just look at the caliber of players that you have in front of you. Playing an absolute beast. That's going to be a nice job of shutting down the Valkyrie player. And there goes Intel running into Xset, one of our... I mean, do you call them an open team, Jamerson? I don't know.
I was so sure that Team Intel saw that there was a third team already involved in this fight running down that hill from that choke point, but of course we had the benefit of the x-rays. We knew for sure that there was another team showing up. Now these Downs are going to go the way of Team Xset here. They'll be able to pick up these kills for themselves. That's going to be more kill points coming their way. Eventually, you could just go ahead and use the finisher there.
Just finish them. Come on.
There's no point whatsoever, but they do end up picking that one up at the very least. So now, with Team Intel out, I don't know if they even got a kill points throughout all of this. Joining on board with GAD, though, they end up getting one knock onto a player. Bubble out as they continue to push into the tunnel. And it's just a Bloodhound here. They should be able to finish them off very shortly.
Wow.
Oh boy, Ace ends up going down here. Now leaving things a little bit scary for them. Armor is almost cracked for Blight. And Distinct has no armor himself. He almost gets taken out, but Distinct will be able to answer back, take out Azath. Ostensibly leaving this to a 1v1 until Distinct gets healed back on up. Bat has been used, and now they should be able to
missile
count
swarm
this
this
out
door
together.
too. I would love to see him missile swarm that door and try to get something going with that one. But I love the play either way to heal behind the knockdown shield, which is big time. You see the bubble going down as well, which is a heads up play because Distinct gamers understanding that if someone comes in from behind, that's what the play is going to be. That's where the third party would come from. So really heads up plays from GAD. Ace took so much damage, Jamerson. Did you see how he was about 175 HP, turns the corner, gets out of the bubble, and then just immediately gets dropped? I think that could have been a PK shot, plus he got double teamed. But he was basically full shields and then just eats it.
MLP Bell ultimately does go down. Team Vizio holding down the no-name area just north of Lava Siphon right now. He might have a rat running around here by himself, but another team is playing off the choke to their north currently. All three members now converging on this building. We'll see 6 pulling up here, and there they have it. They have confirmation. There's a Caustic inside, Thermite just to cover this door, and then they should be able to make entry from the other side. Born should be covering the window, though. You know that angle is being cut off just a little bit. Now Born is ready. Another Caustic barrel down that was just slowing down this fight so much. And it's just one player in here by himself being such a nuisance. Sung might actually go down. Here we go. Finally sliding in. That's going to be double tap eliminated. Vizio picks up a kill point for themselves. This should be a rather free rotation now to go into Geyser.
If we get an opportunity, I know there's been a lot of action. I would love to see exactly where the players are going to be rotating on the map and where everyone's kind of prioritizing. Right now, Xset is not interested in really getting into the zone. They're trying to push in eventually. But, oh, a lot of damage from Clane. Or onto Clane. He took some charge rifle damage, lost his shields. He's going to have to go and hit that battery, but they have plenty of heals because of the kills that they've picked up along the way. That eliminating Team Intel is going to do wonders for the rest of the slobby. Not having to worry about our team that's gotten first place and is so dominant, but I'm so glad to see Xset in this one. They have to turn around, though. It's going to be a squad coming in from behind.
Yeah, they did a lot of damage, but they end up losing out on one. That's going to be Vizio on top of them. Hakulo and Kenny gone. And just like that, Xset get crept up on. And 2 of them are down. Phase breach used, taken now by Borton to try and finish them off in just a moment. There you go, he spots him out. We'll be able to take out Hakulo. Sung does go down. Bursty ends up picking that one up. We'll see. They could possibly try and recover him, but they are right on top of him right now. A lot of teams showing up in this area. 1 Brains, 2 MNK. Not pushing the issue here, though. They're just going to be able to watch on for a while. Bursty backing off with that port. We do have the Valkyrie ultimate being used as Sung does get finished off. So, Vizio, they're going to try. Possibly they can swing by to try and pick up that banner, but I don't know if they'll have an opportunity to get the res.
A lot of our top teams being eliminated. Vizio is looking like they're in shambles. You have Xset, Intel, all kind of in that same area too, off of this rotation. There's the minimap that we're looking for. And wow, what an interesting zone. Do you ever see Jamerson? What is this?
Yeah, the tunnel. If it ends up in the tunnel, seen that maybe twice. Vizio in hot water here. Over at the Geyser side, they took that high ground, and now 6 is just going to try his best to fight this one out. Ends up taking out MJ, but he's still in the middle of Geyser, sliding in between some rock cover. We'll see if he can at least maybe secure that thirst for himself, but right now his primary concern is just to survive. As you can see, doing a really great job so far on the Gibraltar. Will have that bubble. MJ has been finished off as well, and he'll be able to bubble up, heal up, have a split second where he's going to be vulnerable, but you can see now someone sign is pushing to try and secure this. There's 2 members out here, and 6, only a matter of time. He's throwing them for a loop, but looks like he goes straight into Keys, cost of gas, and will go down. Someone sign us picks up that kill. We've got Most Hated getting finished off as well. Lightstar Joe and his squad. That's the second team wipe from them, I believe. They might be sitting somewhere in the range of 5 to 6 kills.
Okay, it pulls away from the tunnel and goes more into a realistic zone that we were kind of anticipating, right? Because I've never seen that ending, actually. I know you said you've seen it twice. I've never seen the tunnel ending, so I was really thrown off by looking at that mini-map, but we're going to be getting probably where that replicator is, in between that and the crafting materials, is the potential end zone. There's also an end zone directly on the door that is over towards the south side building, the long building. So there's a couple different options here. There's also an ending that's over towards the building, directly over towards that northeast, past the banners and past the tree too. So about 3 different endings that could come into play here. And you can see Spectre's kind of setting up for that one. Fortunately for them, it doesn't seem like anyone's on the high ground on the hill right there, which would really rip them apart. Maybe that team's going to skyward dive and take that spot because there's probably not much real estate in the area.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Spectre Esports try to make a move for that crafter area already. You can see pings are down there. There is a player back there as well, holding it down. And we've seen so many teams fall to this spot before, but it seems like not too many throwables are still in play. Otherwise, they would have been spammed. You can see the micro drones connecting right on top of them. That Seer can continue to just scan them there and get some free damage off, but they do find themselves in a small fight right now. Yad has to back away. The Arc Star connecting. He does try to make it back to his squad, but you can see someone sign us locks pushing forward. Bubble Res is possibly in play. Distinct needs to go for it now. He cannot pull off. There we go. Blight holding down the angle, but you can see all 3 members of someone's side is trying to get forward. Arc Star from behind. You've got the pushes from multiple angles, making this so difficult. Intelligence just getting eliminated now. Razor losing out on Box of Tea, about to lose out on their Seer as well, and now it's just nades left for his squad. He might be able to survive long enough. His team might be able to survive for him to get the reses out here. Looks like most of the fighting is taking place on the inside. Nerf, though, on the out, prowling, patrolling underneath the building to try and find anything crummy here to try and secure this thirst for himself as well.
It's a great sign because yesterday Nerf had a similar zone that they weren't able to capitalize on. They went out last place, 0 points basically. They had a 3-way tie for that type of thing. But, you know, I'm really proud of Nate staying alive right there. That was just such a great job in a situation where you think that they're going to be going out. Now he's picking up extra and crucial placement points. Now they go out in 5th place, but a couple extra points here and there really going to do them a favorable situation here. Spectre is still inside of this building, but it does pull on over towards the replicator like we were talking about. Now Nerf, they land over towards Lava Siphon. They're still going to be alive. We're in a full squad situation where all 4 squads have all of their players, but you know one team's going to be locking down over there. I would love to see which squad is in the winning position. It looks like it's running late. They're in a great spot right now.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a bit more offensive fences there to try and get it more on that western edge, because I don't think they really have to worry about their north as much. Look, most of the teams are over here on the western side having to run up to this. They'll have some coverage to work with, but as the fight breaks out, Spectre Esports now already getting 1 kill onto 1 Brain, 2 MNK. Spectre Esports still stuck inside. All these death boxes might actually make it impossible. We've even got a port right on top, so their only option is to actually take this port out, and they will go for it. And it's actually free. It's scot-free for them. You can see Brandon getting some free shots off onto Bursty here. Gets 1 more. Brandon is coming up MVP so far for Spectre Esports, utilizing their own Wraith portal against them. Running late, though, or getting free shots off onto them. Lightstar Joe with that pickup onto Gordo now, and ends up securing that kill onto Brandon. Crummy will fall. Running late with only 1 player in front of them. That's going to be Spectre Esports going down in 2nd place and running late, securing that spot inside Geyser. Ends up with the win.
They weren't running late for winning the game, that's for sure. That's a really nice job from them. Getting into the winning position, and they picked up a massive amount of kills right there, making it look easy. That's what you want to see. You want to see all 3 players basically staying alive, all full shields, working together. Everything that you want to see from running late, they were able to put it together. that zone was a little bit unpredictable in the beginning, and then it started to kind of shape out. So the teams that got over towards the back of Geyser, you don't really expect them to have a lot of kills. They were able to do so. So that's a very tough game to win and pick up a lot of points. And they were really phenomenal in the way that they executed everything.
Yeah, for running late, I mean, we saw them on the kill feed, Lightstar Joe in particular, a good amount throughout the entirety of the game. So this wasn't just a 5-kill win for them. It should be somewhere along the lines, possibly 10 kills, because again, in that late game, it was all free for them with the final 2-3 other teams that were still alive. Now we saw this ended up being the graveyard for a lot of squads on that north side, just in between Geyser and Fragment East. So much fighting took place here. XSET got the third party onto the team intel that were not ready for this push at all.
I think it's because a lot of teams were in the vicinity looking for kills, and it was a kill or be killed situation. This is that moment that we're looking at where look at how much damage he takes instantly. I mean, just leaves the bubble for a second, boom, loses all of his shields, all of his health. Nice job resetting over here. You saw some really great shots from Blight. The bubble comes down when they go and hit the res 2 from Distinct Gamers. So a lot of really smart plays and kind of what we were expecting again on our open day. I think the level of competition this season has been some of the toughest competition, if not the toughest by far in Series E overall. I'm really impressed with a lot of these players, a lot of these teams, some newer squads coming together and proving themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the point of Series E isn't just for our partnered squads to be able to improve and get better. It's about overall supporting Tier 3, Tier 2 along the way. And we've been seeing the growth of Tier 3, Tier 2, especially in their experience and their play levels overall. As the seasons have been going on, the Open Nights have been getting better and better, and it's great to see, especially now that we're about to turn a new page. Once this season is over, once Champs is over, you know, there's going to be a renewed interest once again. I mean, a $2 million tournament is going to be taking place next weekend. That's going to get a lot more new players and infuse basically the Tier 2 and Tier 3 scene with a lot more players. So I'm really excited for the future of Apex. That was just game number 1. We're going to send it back to Yeso in the studio to break that one down for us.
Good look there for Running Latte in the first game of the day as they grab the victory there. This is a squad that I got a pretty good look at last week, last Friday night, and this is a team that, you know, in a lobby that had, you know, CLG, Renegades, Start a Fight, all kind of running on all cylinders. This was a squad that struggled a little bit. They had some good fights. They were getting into a handful of late games, but they really didn't have that finish. And while, you know, nothing crazy happened in this late game for them, they get that nice little bit of high ground on the southern side there of Geyser, and then they just hold their position and hit their shots. This is, you know, a good early sign from the team. And of course, you know, Lightstar Joe, former player here in Series E, 00 negative as well. Those two have been playing together for a little while, and they're trialing hundreds right now on this roster, and early returns look positive. We'll have to see, you know, what comes from the team through the next 5 games, and, you know, hopefully this first one is not just a flash in the pan, but early returns looking solid for the roster, and I'm curious to see how things continue with hundreds on the team. Now let's take a look at their stats here from game number 1 as we take a peek at our champion squad, and look at Lightstar Joe leading the way. 1,600 damage, 8 kills as well. The team finishes with a total of 12 in this first game, so 24 points right off the top is a great start here for Running Latte, and we'll have to see how things continue as the day goes on, but just a really solid showing. Hundreds, just short of 1,000 damage as well. 5 assists to his name along with the 2 kills, so the team looking solid here to start off. Also, interestingly enough, seeing Nerf again in these late games. It's something we've seen pretty commonly over the last couple of weeks. They're still struggling to finish and grab wins, but they just seem to be a mainstay in top 5s of almost every single game that they play. So we'll have to see if they can kind of find that killer instinct in the late game to close it out. Let's take a look, though, at our first Mobile One high performance moment of tonight, and it is going to be here in the late game, and it's Brandon. And this was a beautiful use of the portal. Spectre Esports in the inside and just recognizes that nobody can get in, but he can get out and set up a bit of a flank here, and he does just that. Gets out, beams that first player there, whips out the R301 to take out one brain, 2 M and K, and that was just well played from Brandon. And then we head over to Running late here, and they just hit all of their shots. Honestly, Lightstar Joe with that wingman running the The wingman car combo that we've seen very commonly for James Fearless over the last little while. And yeah, this is just well played. I really love this just from Brandon. Throws out the ultimate and goes, hey, they can't come in. They're going to have to play for the circle. I can just quickly out-rotate them with his ultimate, and easy pickups there. Takes out Bursty. One more quickly follows as he knocks down Young Pup Tart. And then we go see what's up with Large Star Joe. And just well positioned again on this high ground. And easy sightlines on these last couple of players. It's a nice little cleanup. Few extra KP here for Light Star Joe at the end of the game, playing around the skibby bubble. And it's a win for the squad. So well played there as they grab the win, the first one of the day here. Still 5 more games to go, so we'll have to see how things continue here in Series E tonight. We're going to go to a break right now, but when we come back, we'll take a first look at that Mobile One leaderboard and get you ready for Game 2.
I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist, I'm never old enough to give a
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson.
I'm fading!
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
All right, welcome back to Series E. Game number 1 starting similarly to what we had yesterday. A very similar circle pulling over towards that Geyser side, and an open squad ends up taking the win. Let's check in with the Mobile One leaderboard to see how the rest of our teams fared. And it is, again, looking very similar to what we had yesterday, Tom, where our open squads ended up showing up for game number 1. Our partner squads, a lot of them, ended up going down early.
No doubt about it, but this is a great sign for Razor to start. I think that this is what they kind of needed. They needed to come out of the gates, especially as our team that's sitting in last place in the cumulative leaderboard. But you hit the nail on the head. Open team start that is really, really hot. And, you know, teams like Tyson, Excedrin, Intel being shut down, which is pretty surprising. But we are still fairly early in this one. We have 2 more games on World's Edge before we switch to the final 3 on Stormpoint.
Yeah, Running Late had a 12-kill win to start off with 24. Spectre Esports in second place there with 18. And we now start having an early gap, a 9-point gap between Spectre and our third place squad, 1 Brained, 2 M and K. So a lot more games to be played there, but we saw early on from Team Tyson that, again, when it comes to these open nights, there is so much left up in the air. We saw them drop 2 separate spots yesterday when we were on World's Edge. They went to a third one today, going over towards that lava fissure side. So teams have to be able to adapt quickly. Tyson did make that adaptation, but making it and navigating their way into the mid game and late game wasn't something that they were able to do in that one. We'll see though. Let's join on board with Running Late, our winners from game number 1. And they were set up with a Seer composition, and that was surprising because it was Seer, Watson, and Valkyrie. No Gibraltar in play for them. It's all about early rotations, utilizing our information to know who's surrounding you, and they came out from tree to make it to that circle.
Yeah, I love that when one team wins, we hop on board with that particular squad, and like you said, we didn't really know where they were landing in the previous game. We had eyes on Team Tyson and what they were going to be able to do over towards Lava Fisher. Remember, they found that gold bag early. Ended up getting dropped on over towards Landslide. Now coming out with the R301 Mozam. We're going to start calling that the Kubski Special.
I would love that, yeah. I mean, the Mozam, again, it's just the consistency with it that I have a problem with, but like the damage that you can put out with it can feel nice. It's just that consistency, but for the time being, it looks like running late. They want to try and regroup to go for this beacon scan. A little bit wary to go out by themselves because there is a player already there for whatever team is dropping at Thermal Station. So Lightstar Joe is just waiting for his teammates to show up before he tries to go for it by himself. Go ahead and pop an early ultimate excel. I'm surprised that he's just not holding on to that one for hundreds. But this is the key to an early rotation. Getting the ultimate excels onto a Valkyrie so he can go for a minute 30 rotate. Tyson, though, over at Countdown, meeting some resistance, as it does look like they will go ahead and regroup for the time being. They have one player isolated currently here in Countdown, but the rest of the team is starting to show up too now over here. As you can see, a nice flank out from Joey. Flick gets the knock onto Maxi. It is traded back, though, so it's down to a 2v2, but Tyson seems to be dishing out the better in terms of damage, as now Z Davis going from the right-hand side. Flick is there as well. He ends up falling now, leaving Z Davis in a 1v2, but he's done damage to this Caustic. He just needs to be able to take him out. That Caustic gas, though, slowing him down. Now Z Davis goes for another peek. It's still a 1v2, unfortunately, and this Caustic is just buying time for the heals on the other side, while Z Davis only has the syringes. He can't go for it. Tyson ends up going down to Vermouth here early on. They're our first squad eliminated.
Yeah, we got some VMT love in the chat, shutting down Tyson during Tyson Week. Duragan? I'm gonna say, how do you say his name? Duragan? I don't know. Well, I think one of those three has to be right. Either way, that guy's a god. I mean, straight up amazing plays from him. Speaking of God, look at the shots coming in for Borton. Almost gets that knock. Not quite sure how that player doesn't end up going down, but he switches on over to the Prowler after hitting some really nice ones with the 30-30 and puts down some more damage over here towards the Dome, which is shocking to see action happening over here when we didn't have any teams land here in the previous game.
Here we got two knocks, but it looks like people got the message from you, Tom. You got to go over here. You got to take this spot, and now Team Vizio, if they win this 50-50, should be able to secure it for themselves going into game number 3. But they got to be fast on this fight. You have to always be worried about a third party coming from Lava City, coming out from launch as well. Six just securing the thirst on the ground. He gets slid into. Inspector Esports will go down here in 19th place. No points to their name. Vizio securing the spot.
Nicely done. R9 bow check, not my really go-to, but Six is going to take it either way. And he has the gold helmet on Gibraltar, which, if you're wondering which legend to give this to out of the 3, typically your Gibby gets a majority of all of the gold, power-ups, basically. So if there's a gold bag, gold helmet, etc., he's going to be the one to go for that. If you're looking for a gold armor, typically, that's going to be on your entry fragger. So if you are looking to kind of score some kudos with your ranked teammates, or maybe just your teammates in general, that's definitely something to keep in mind. But we do have potential harvester zone, Jamerson. When we're looking at that snake area, look at the team that's in the vicinity. It's going to be running late. They're already locking down what I would consider the priority position in this circle.
And the fact that they don't have a Gibraltar, it's going to work to their benefit because they don't have to play outside. If they are holding up in there, they've got the Watson to try and trap up and make sure the entryways are covered. So they are working to the weaknesses of their composition, playing in spots that they don't need that Gibraltar cover for. Now, though, Team Intel looking for a fight outside the tunnel north of Geyser right now. James Fearless, again, always living up to his name, always on that front line, chasing after a full 3-man who's trying to retreat away from him, but he's not giving them any space whatsoever. Black Hole's a little bit short, though. Might have caught one. No, they back away from this one, and a third party's coming up from behind them as well. Team Intel instantly recognizes that and backs away, and is going to allow Double Tap to try and just fight this one. On going down for GAD, that's going to be Double Tap picking that one up, but Ace has answered back. It's a 2v2. Team Intel might possibly just go for that full reset and then go back into this one. Double Tap losing out on one, and now Team Intel starting to turn things around.
Great barrel right there, but it's not going to buy enough time. You can see Chansey comes in with the PK. Very nicely done from Rilla, but it's just not enough. Great charge rifle shots from Mooney and Team Intel. Now you have Impulse with the wingman. Intel loves to rock the wingman, especially Fearless. We saw him using the flatline a lot yesterday. Amazing black hole. That's not a friendly one, and everybody ends up shooting that one to get rid of it almost immediately. But instead of healing, lucky to go for the PK. Everyone just walking right in to the corner area, and Chansey gets dropped. Pear looks like he's next, and everybody just falling. Team Intel, you can see why they're so strong at team fighting. Bubble comes down immediately. Heals come through as well. Plenty of armor swaps in the area. And Intel refuses to go down early in back-to-back games, and that's what you love to see from our partner teams. But holy damage around the corner. You thought you were going to be able to come through, and Intel is like, nope, not happening.
Oh, 2 PKs all charged up right into your dome right there. Team Intel again. That was just expert calling coming out from that squad. I don't know who's doing the majority of the shot calling there, but the call to retreat was so well done. Now someone, Sinus, ends up taking out a member of Running Late. Hundreds ends up going down. And I said this should have been a strength for them to be able to play off of one of the snakes, but ultimately ended up losing out on one. Late is going to join up here. We'll see. Maybe they try to go for the banner. They're applying some pressure right now, but DSO Zero showing up for the third party from behind. As Thief will just go ahead and back away, tosses in the missile swarm just to do some chip damage, applying more and more pressure here. But the longer this fight goes, the less likely it seems that Running Late will be able to get in to pick up this banner, especially losing out on 00 negative there. DSO Zero wants to continue to stay involved in this fight now. We do have the ordnance being tossed in, the thermite to try and secure the thirst, but it looks like that player was able to back away now. DSO making their way up the snake here. They still have to be careful running into all these arc stars as they push on out.
Wow.
Most teams in the area. Leda gets taken out. DSO Zero picks up one of those kills here. See if they can continue on. The door is covered by that downed player for the time being. 00 negative getting re-knocked as well on the kill feed. There it is. Someone Sinus ends up getting eliminated, but Crummy has shown up for the third party. Here is Team Nerf. Another knock onto Blue Dawn. That's going to be 2 members down. Team Nerf picking up some free kills here in the fourth party.
I really feel like Trends was playing somebody else yesterday. We know that he plays Horizon on Stormpoint, but I don't know if he was playing Caustic. Either way, Caustic's value in Harvester specifically in this POI, but also in the Snake area, skyrockets. And he's just so darn strong because you're able to just not only put barrels down over towards the doors and stop people coming in, but it's just so easy to advance forward, and that's what one of the Caustic specialties. So I'm not going to be surprised to see if Nerf locks this down and Turns is able to put in some serious work. They also have that generator to work with too that someone left for them, so that's very nice of the opposing teams to go and do so. But now we see what Intel is doing over towards the Fragment side, and they're making their way over towards this broken building, spotting a team over towards Fragment West. It looks like they're on the hunt.
I believe they've already gotten 1 knock and 1 kill onto this fight already. But Mooney from behind ends up getting tagged up. They need to slow down this push just a little bit for him to heal up. Bubble has been used by this squad. Fearless going right into a 3-man. Oh, turns around for the Black Hole. Arcstar's in, but they might have gotten out. No, he gets pulled back in. The Arcstar connects. Don't get the kill, though. Now James Fearless still on his ones. Is going to push in. He does have Impulse backing up finally here. They get the first knock, the second as well. Now just 1 player remaining. Team Intel about to pick up another team fight win here as Fearless now facing off up against this Gibraltar, and he's got the distraction from behind. James Fearless now the kill leader with 4. He's got 3 assists as well. Team Intel are firing up here in game number 2. Oh!
He has 11 batteries, Jamerson. Fearless has 11 batteries. There's 11 squads left. He has a battery for each team fight coming forward.
That's the pub special where you just keep picking up heals because you don't want to really think about it anymore. Forsey, we joined on board with a big PK shot. There's a second one as well. Team Nerf just really holding down this S-Bend. He needs to go out and secure this thirst in just a moment. He has the bubble if he needs to, but it looks like he will be able to secure that for now. Will maybe go out for that loot. There you go. He's got that bubble loot just in case. And that's going to allow Nerf some crucial extra meds and heals for himself. A missile storm that he really doesn't need to worry about. He'll go ahead and get his way back on in. Team Nerf in a beautiful spot now as X-Set on the verge of getting knocked out here early on as well. We're already down, like you said, to 11 squads. This is absolute insanity in terms of pace.
Definitely some rats somewhere. You can see the math doesn't really add up on that one. We'll find out where those players are going to be located very shortly. But you have Fearless, who's completely stacked on Team Intel. You know that Team Nerf's going to be in a good position over towards that snake. Now we're taking a look at what Razor's doing. Big shout out to our observers today over at Esports Arena, just absolutely killing it, switching at the action at the right time, being completely on top of basically every single fight for us too. So, and not only that, hitting, you know, the players, like, they're hitting shots every single time we go into somebody. They're just hitting for 98 with the PK, which is awesome to go and see. So shout out to them as always. But now Razor is in a little bit of an interesting spot because they are trying to find where the enemy players are coming from. Speaking of that, Vermouth, oh my goodness, this guy's a beast. I mean, this is what Series E is all about, Jamerson, finding new talent like this. He stayed alive when Z Davis was hunting him down, one of our strongest players that we have here for our partners' teams, and now all of a sudden just lasering people with the one clip. Can you get the kidnap out of the Watson? Look out.
He tried his best, but he does have to back away. It looks like they get the first knock. Kenny was eliminated throughout all of this. Vermouth about to pick up another team fight. Win. This Wraith gonna go down. There we go. Dutch is gone. Vermouth holding down this choke. Another team shows up behind, and he is ready. Gamer Town. I don't know if they're gonna be prepared for this one. They do have the Bloodhound scans. I don't know if they've got the Beast on the Hunt though, as that pylon ends up eating up the entirety of Lumdum's missile swarm there, and he was a little bit surprised by that one. But at the very least, you can go ahead and utilize this one to get some free heals. It looks like it might be out, as Morky Mac isn't taking the heals quite yet. Flesh damage onto him as he backs away. Lumdum needs to hold down this height, but he's being forced back. This interception pylon being a nuisance to both squads involved in this fight right now. Gamertown versus Vermouth as the scan comes out here, realizing that they've got the high ground. Lumdum is holding the angle. Finally is able to sneak in a nade beyond that interception pylon, clearing out the barrels. Team Intelligence now knocked out. Razor picking that one up. Gamertown continuing this push, though. They're not able to make too much headway here. It looks like Lumdum is all out of nades, so this is going to be a difficult push. They'll be able to back away if they don't like this fight anymore, and Morky Mac might go down. Drop down to about 20 HP. He will fall. Vermouth. What an excellent turnaround onto this fight.
I love this team name, though. Gamertown, Lumdum's a great gamer tag. Morky Mac, just imagine if you're, you know, behind you Morky, behind you Lumdum. Like, I love those team names and those player names. Vizio's coming through, and they're not joking around. They are serious about their business. This is one of the most popular third-party spots in all of Apex on this high ground. Sung's gonna be on Caustic, which if you have watched Sung in the past, the dude kind of set the pace for what Caustic should be in NA. And hello, Song. There's someone in front of you. I don't think he could see because he was inside of the Lobo Black Market. But unfortunate that he takes a lot of damage from Most Hated, and now Most Hated is going to come in. And like I said, third party, fourth party, everybody invited here.
Yeah, you can just get out of here. There are so many options to just not engage on this fight anymore, especially for them. As
you have to gatekeep
they
here,
know. Yeah, they're just gonna go ahead and push it. Oh no, Borden the first one to fall. Marstreams picks that one up, and now Most Hated about to pick up a second knock in just a moment here. Slides into the 88, 6 answers back. Might not be enough. Marstream is down, base is low, so is MJ, but it looks like Vizio does get cleaned up. Unfortunately, Vizio just stays for that full fight, and it's ultimately Most Hated on, what, the 5th or 6th party there? I mean, we're well beyond the hotel lobby at this point. Team Intel sliding down as Impulse will fall. We'll see if they can get him back up. Fearless challenging. Kimchi Lee goes down, etc. And I forgot, we didn't even get to talk about them today so far. And now it's down to a 2v2. Excedrin trying their best to fight back. Yanya has gone super low, cruising going for the challenge, but Mooney is ready for it. Yanya left in a 1v2 here. It looks like Team Intel ends up getting eliminated. Forsey coming up behind them. But now the ring is closing in. They're trying to bat him in, but Yanya might actually go down. He needs to get back in. Oh my goodness. Cruisin should be able to crawl into safety. They'll be able to play this one out as a two-man. Now we do have the ring pull away here, Tom. That snake, a little bit of it is in for the next zone, but it seems like it is going up here towards this high ground.
And this is, you know, I would just love to see Crypto kind of get back into style because, yes, he's very difficult to play, and there's so many different legends there. But look at how sexy that little beacon scan is right there. And if you're playing like a Crypto Caustic Valkyrie type of composition, man, you'd be in such a good spot. You'd know exactly where the zone's going to be. You'd be setting up nice and pretty for that one over and over again. But this is a very exciting Harvester ending. Unfortunately, a lot of squads have already died, right? I mean, fortunately for like a team like Razor, but for the viewers, typically there's a little bit more in terms of, you know, real estate. A lot of players are going to be, you know, in certain spots. This one's a lot more open, so Razor is going to be running around in the open, kind of scouting out where these enemy players are going to be. Gizzard Macintosh taking some damage, running back on over towards where they have the safety of the caustic barrels and the building. Nice job hitting the Phoenix kit. Definitely smart, because the later you get into the game, the less likely you're to be able to hit those Phoenix kits. Gamertown finally eliminated. Nice job by Lumdum staying alive, securing some extra points. But this is what you want to see from Razor, Jamerson. This is back-to-back games where they've given themselves a chance to secure a win, and this time they have all 3 members alive.
Yeah, we are down to 6 squads now. I believe 1 rat still running around for someone. We'll find out who that is in just a moment. But if you're a rat, this is one of the rings you want to see. There are a lot of playable positions, a lot of rat positions to try and secure a few extra.
It'd be a team of 2, right?
There. Definitely, we could have 2 teams of 2. It looks like a res might have actually just gone down as well. So a player brought back into this one super late in the game. I'm just keeping an eye on the skies to see where that dropship is. But it looks like it might be just on the other side of Harvester, quite possibly. For Razor, though, it's all about maintaining control over this high ground. It's going to be the highest of grounds, basically, in this ring. Nerf, Kimchi Lee getting a taste of his own medicine. 4C coming in with that Kraber to take him out.
Oh, my!
Ooh, what is this, COD? We're getting some quick scope action here from 4C now as he takes out one more member of Excedrin. Now there's only 1 player remaining. Kimchi Lee does end up getting finished off. Razor gets pushed, and Bastola ends up getting 2 of those. What happened there for Most Hated?
Who cares? Because we just saw some of those nasty snipes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so glad we got an opportunity to catch that right there. Can we please see some more from 4C? And just like you said, Jamerson, a taste of his own medicine there for Kimchi, who was putting on an absolute show with the Kraber yesterday. That angle is not easy to hit, especially if you're playing on a controller. I believe 4C's M and K, but if you were sitting on a controller, that angle is almost impossible to hit because how slow you end up looking down. So big shout out to 4C for one of the toughest shots that we've seen with the Kraber in quite some time, and making them back-to-back headshots was just so exciting to see. 6 kills, 3 assists, feeling good about the situation. This is going to end under the ramp too.
Yeah, we're down to 4 final squads here. It looks like Most Hated Vermouth might still be alive at this point in the game, as we do have Dwarigan down there, still not spotted out. You can see Young Pop-Tart and his crew holding out that high ground, but this ring pulling away towards Nerf. This is going to be so beautiful for them. They've already got the caustic barrel set up to hold and control that ramp. This high ground is going to be almost impossible to take. So at this point, it's all about just making sure you secure that plus 12 for Team Nerf. What a beautiful position to do it out of.
No doubt about it, too. And they put themselves in a great position early game by taking over the snake, then realizing that this is going to continue to pull on over towards the ramp. Most Hated is locking down the high ground over here, and they do have a portal that's going up top. They have to be careful of players coming through that one. Bursty didn't get the memo. There's someone behind him looking a little bit oblivious right there. Fortunately, gets back on over towards the portal. And these guys looking like the Three Stooges coming through one by one right there. Not quite sure what the plan was, but they backed off. Smart play, getting away from that portal, and now they know where these players are located, and they're like, okay, this is what's going on. We have the bubble coming up here in 10 seconds. That's definitely the play, going down there, playing that little ledge. Hopefully the bubble comes up for Pop-Tart here at the right time, right? You can see 2 seconds. Oh, great grav lift gets placed. Pop-Tart needs a bubble. Oh, a little late there. Going to go for the gold bag res. He's going to get it just in time, too. And they're going to be pretty safe here for the time being. But what a scary moment there is. Most Hated is hating on him for trying to get into the zone here. Rightfully so. They're trying to win this game.
Yeah, bubble goes down, but they don't have the angle quite yet. Another gravity lift abduct quite possible. MJ is holding on to it. Will go ahead and send that one out with the black hole, actually. Instead, there's the knock onto Pop-Tart. Base gets a second one onto Oski, and it's only now just one member remaining here. I believe the Wraith that was able to get away. 4C just holding down this ramp, making sure no one comes up. One brain, 2 MNK now knocked out. We are now down to our final 3 squads. It's going to be a 3v3v2. 4C still has that Kraber in place. 7 shots remaining here. There aren't enough players to use it on, basically, at the end game here.
Interesting zone. I mean, this is going to typically end outside where the pings are, but yeah, there it is. Okay, I was going to say, the way that it was kind of looking, I thought that it was more central, like kind of where the players are standing up on top, and I was like, that doesn't make sense because then it's going to be ending inside of a building and on top. It's usually right outside of that door there. And again, this is where Caustic starts to shine. You're just going to be so strong with the Nox Gas Grenade. The zoning potential. Don't stand still, otherwise you're going to get your face ripped. Oh my goodness, Forsey is just lining these players up. He's looking for it.
Yeah, you see that Gibraltar arm shield up. I don't know. There we go. The first shot rings out. Doesn't quite connect, but he still has 6 left here to try and finish things out. 5 players, 5 bullets. Forsey, can he connect with them? That is the huge difference maker in these fights. Doesn't quite connect on this one, unfortunately. They are still controlling that low ground. There we go. The headshot to take out Bastola, who has been doing an amazing job.
That was their gibby.
That means they don't have a bubble for this. The defensive bombardment has gone down now.
Whoa, they risen that quick.
We don't see any quite connects, unfortunately. They are able to get him back up and get him out of danger. Crummy tries to go for that peek upstairs. Now you can see all of the mobile respawn beacons going down for a little bit of extra coverage. They've got the barrel set up around on the ground as well. Forsey just holding that angle for the time being. Most hated, trying their best to wait this one out inside. Vermouth, Morrigan, and Maxi still alive. They don't want to be the first one out as well, and might be most hated that need to drop down first.
This is a tough situation for the teams that have to force their way over towards Nerf. Forsey looking for the double. He's going to be able to find so much damage with this Kraber. Are you kidding me? Bubble's going to come down. Everybody's full health, except for Crummy, who is taken on over towards the high ground, but the damage has already been done. MJ's taken on over towards the skies. He gets dropped. Now you only have 2 players left. Turns is taking a decent amount of damage. And this is the caustic gas from the enemy player, too. Holy Forsey burst. The guy is just absolutely insane. Nerf is going to take game number 2 with a lot of points.
That's huge. I mean, Forsey himself should have had about 8 kills, I think, towards the end there. It looked a little bit scary when it came down to that 1v1, but didn't have to really worry about that all whatsoever. What a finish there coming out from our squad. I mean, that was a really entertaining game overall. We had a lot of fights taking place early game, mid game. A lot of pileups in different areas of the map where 4 squads were going down at the same time, essentially. That was quite the entertaining game.
That was all Forsey all day. Nerf needs to be nerfed after that one. What a performance. The Kraber, the flatline, everything that you could ask for. And also, you got to give credit to Durrigan, I believe his name is, who stayed alive in this situation, also gave himself an opportunity to win this game. You love to see it. The shots were phenomenal. The observing was great this game. The PK shots, Intel had their moments. All in all, though, it's Nerf, and Nerf's having themselves a day. I mean, they were in good position in game number 1 and a better position in game number 2.
Yeah, I believe, Vermouth ends up surviving towards 2nd place. They had a number of kills as well. Most hated themselves only secured 3rd place, but they were also involved in a lot of these fights. Team Intel, though, this was the fight that we want to talk about, because this is what the Intel that we were seeing out of last season, on constantly responding to whatever situation was coming in. They saw 3rd parties. They backed away from this fight. They came back in to turn around the fight. W-Key tried to turn the corner onto them, but Team Intel were not having it whatsoever.
Not at all. That was an amazing performance from a lot of our partner teams there. They needed to step it up, though, because a lot of our open teams have came through swinging. Previously, it was running late. They won game number 1. And this was another really solid team, DSO 0, who shut down someone Sinus, who was doing great today and had a showing yesterday. This was that moment where there was so many 3rd parties up over here towards this top thermal station area. And it was just an absolute bloodbath. We didn't see who was playing Loba, but that Loba Black Market definitely cost Song a little bit of his HP.
Yeah, and this was the important part for Vermouth, being able to use that Valkyrie Skyward Dive just to get out of danger. Even though they ended up losing out on their 3rd, Jeff Lovo going down, surviving as a 2-man, they were able to hold, I believe, the bottom of Snake throughout all of this. Excedrin, though, this was another pileup that we saw. Team Intel try to make this push on in towards the northeast Snake, but they met up a lot of resistance. A 3rd party ends up showing up, I believe, ultimately throughout this one as well. And you can see Excedrin, I believe they had to get a res after this one. Yanya kind of left us a little bit scared there as he was trying to walk on in and try to smack one of his players, I believe, cruising back into the zone, but he was able to stay alive. But Excedrin ended up going down a little bit earlier as well. But man, what a crazy game. Game number 2, absolutely packed full of action. Yeso is going to have his work cut out for himself. So Yeso, go ahead and break down game number 2 for us.
You're right, Jamerson. Honestly, a lot of great plays in there. A lot of different teams having some highlights. Probably one of my favorites was MJ. In fact, most hated position up above the kind of entryway there for Harvester. And you see, well, I think it's one brain, 2 M&K. They're hiding behind the ridge. And just a beautifully placed black hole just outside of the zone. Rips those 2 players out into the zone to take zone damage, and then of course his teammate Base Stola finishing those 2 players off. So honestly, that was a really cool one. Intel had a few highlights, but of course it was Nerf, and it was funny because I was just saying after last game, right? Nerf have been having a lot of really good performances. They're mainstays in the top 5 in a lot of these games, especially over the last couple of weeks, but they haven't been able to finish that game, get those final few kills, close one out, have that kind of emphatic victory, and they did it this time. Force taking a little bit to get that aim going with the Kraber, but finally hitting that beautiful headshot onto Stola, which really put Most Hated in a very tough spot. And then they were really just hitting kind of all of their shots in that late fight. So well played from Nerf, and they certainly deserve that victory. Let's take a look, though, at our champion squad and their stats from this second game of the day. And it was Force carrying the load in terms of kills and damage for the team here. Just shy of 2,500 damage, 8 kills and 5 assists as well, and everybody looking good. And of course, important to mention that this is Nerf playing with a sub, right? Crummy in today for Messiah. Messiah not available to come out and play, and Crummy contributing significantly there with 1,600 damage and 3 kills and 8 assists. So really all across the board, the team looking really solid here. Now the question is now, can they put a couple of these together, or can they at the very least maintain those consistent top 5s to be a real threat for the top of the table by the end of today? We'll find out, but Nerf at the very least continuing to look really good and very similar to their companions. Excedrin building off of a solid Season 4, continuing that growth here in Season 5. Let's take a look, though, at one of the many moments here from this second game of the day, and it is our second Mobile One high performance moment, and it's a look at Intel, and it's James Fearless really living up to his name. Beautiful black hole to lock down that player. It doesn't get a knock, but it doesn't much matter because it just means Fearless can come in here and just beam with that R301. Gets one knock. You get Impulse in with the follow-up to get the second knock with the PK. And then it's just James now getting to play around this door. And I do love here that he slows down a little bit, recognizes that he doesn't have shields, allows his teammates to get in position to close in on that player, and it just means that it's a very easy door open, peek in with the PK, and grab that final knock. But this was just really clean from Intel, and this was the second clean fight. The first one that we saw was, W key running in through that doorway, and interestingly enough, running into the perfectly timed crossfire from Team Intel to where they basically instantly knocked the first player through the door. So Intel still yet to grab a win today, but they're looking solid so far. They get into the top 10 in this game, and a couple of highlights that they're going to feel really good about is James Fearless just clean, and the team is looking really good. 2 games in the books. We have one more to go on World's Edge before we head over to Storm Point, so don't go far. We'll have Game 3 when we return.
nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
All right, welcome back to Series Z. Game number 2 went the way of Team Nerfs. What's that mean on the leaderboard? Let's check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard here. Well, that puts them into first place. Running late ended up going down early on, only picking up 1 point for themselves, and so they lose out on first. Now drop down to second. Vermouth, though, with the second place finish in game number 2, and a third place finish for Most Hated, put them tied now for third and fourth place, respectively, Tom.
Interestingly enough, this is around where first place was yesterday after 2 games. Start a Fight had 39 points, and now Nerf comes through with 38. So a very similar situation, almost deja vu like. But I want to see Tyson step it up in Tyson week. I think Z Davis was in the chat saying keep the game play onto him. So we'll have our observers focusing on them and seeing what they're going to have in store for us. Maybe they have a different composition, or they're just saying, you know what, this is Tyson week. We're going to go big in these final moments here and start stepping it up. Not only for Tyson week, but that overall leaderboard, Jamerson, really matters.
And we are seeing our team starting to step it up. Here we go. Our final time on World's Edge for the week. Joining on board with Team Nerf. A team that typically ends up getting challenged here at Lava Siphon, but the last 2 nights, no one is stepping anywhere near their bounds. Now, with a pretty sizable lead in first place, they have to be feeling comfortable going into the third game of World's Edge here. Unfortunately for them, the armor situation, not the greatest, especially of what you see out of Lava Siphon, but they should be able to pick things up. Ooh, ICRVR coming in to fill for Tyson now, as they're taking this fight at Countdown once again. Lumdum, the first one down, and it looks like Z Davis, he was right. You're gonna have to watch out for him as he goes in for that melee finish, taking out Gamertown early on. So Team Tyson, they got your warning, they listened, and now they are surviving this 50-50.
Great job by them. They're gonna have to pick up some more loot though, because you could see, I mean, it's very early in the game, but they have to make a rotation over towards Fearless and Team, what's Team Intel? Are they playing zone here? Come on, Intel. Let's see them charge out of here. Don't. I know it's early. I know they're still looting Climatizer, but let's see them push out of here and start slaying everybody out. Look at all those teams are towards the south. Intel, let's see you take down everybody in this lobby this time around. But they were shut down by the team that's rotating to the zone right now. That's going to be Xset. You can see Blight's Bathwater. We all know who my favorite Bathwater in Series E is.
Yesos, yes. We all have a bottle, right? I mean, I got mine early. I don't know if you got yours. But for right now, Team Intel are just going to go ahead and take their time. We'll see if they end up making a rotation south. Maybe go over to Overlook, try to take out Gad. But it's going to be a little bit more difficult because teams are going to be running into their path. They're going to have to constantly be aware of a third party if they go down there. But taking a look at their loadout, they have to feel fairly comfortable. Double blues and that purple on Fearless. I mean, Fearless himself is always ready to go and always ready to throw down, regardless of what their loot looks like. And it looks like their plan is to start going down south.
That's definitely the play. I mean, they're not going to sit back. And they've seen from not only what they do in Series E, but some of the great teams, right? And one of the teams that I love to talk about because they've been just so groundbreaking in the way that they play is TSM. And TSM used to always be a center zone team with Albroli. And they switched things up with Snipe Down when he ended up playing in that Bloodhound meta. And they realized, okay, well, we can't sit center zone anymore. And especially with Valkyrie kind of being introduced and becoming very, very popular almost off of the rip, there's an opportunity to kind of change the way that you play. It's not all about just getting into the middle of the zone and just sitting there anymore. It's about finding where the most popular spots are to find kills based on what your play style is going to be. Now, you do have teams like OXG, etc., that are going to be setting up very, very early on. I feel like Tyson is one of those teams as well that's kind of adapted that play style, but we're also going back to a certain state where I feel like in World's Edge, people have found that and they know where to go. But ooh, nice nade. Great fragment right there. But when we do switch on over to Storm Point, Jamerson, I think that that's when the teams start to play a little bit slower, methodical, and central because they want to get that end game experience from that map.
And that kind of freedom, especially on the edges, I think that's what really helped out Team Intel because it was the last 2 games where they just really stormed up that leaderboard. Right now, well, with 1 Brains, 2 MNK, seems like they found an opening to try and charge forward. Team Intel, though, have made their way down here towards Overlook. James Fearless, big crack there, but Impulse is here to cover him. The crafting being used right now. The dome has been used as well, just to cover the crafting. Team Intel should be able to smell some weakness here, but you can see that high ground angle is giving Impulse some pause. Fearless holding it down from that sniper post, gets some decent sprays down, at least gets rid of that arm shield for the time being. Unfortunately, it looks like we are having some server issues. There have been so many no-regs today, unfortunately. But Team Nerf about to pick up a +3 on to double tap there. They have been knocked out. Our second squad down. Team Intel have been able to force the issue here, forcing back this squad. It has to be GAD now, retreating over towards No Name. You can see Impulse is trying to push up, but he gets tagged down low. Falling back, they have to expect that this is a third party. I don't know if they got the sound cue for it, but for the time being, they at least secure 1 knock onto a GAD member at the very least.
Great plays, and I love the aggressiveness that always comes out of them. Really setting the tone for what our partner teams are capable of doing. W Key trying to live up to their name, avoiding the black hole, which is most likely going to be Team Intel coming around the corner too for some extra kill points along the way. Impulse should be fully healed by now after taking that initial damage. Actually, he still needs to hit a med kit too. So he's, oh my, tracking with the Spitfire. The snipe down 3x special for Fearless.
Yeah, he is definitely putting the fear into them now. Fearless, though, doesn't want to push up quite yet. Has to be careful. Again, you have to note that in this timing, round 1 closing, 1:45 still remaining there. And multiple teams are still showing up from Lava City. They could have been wrapping around from Dome as well. So Team Intel have been smart about these pushes. They are not going to allow anyone to come in for the third party. And they can continue to just play off of Overlook here. There's a beacon you can play off of. You can just go ahead and maintain this position and try and gatekeep.
The Wingman's so popular for our partner teams. Razor's going to go and get hundreds down with the charge rifle too. Let's see if we can switch on over to if that was more of a long range type of engagement or if that is something that is going to be more mid range or close range. But GAD is going to go down, and that's going to be Fearless with the PK. Unfortunate for them that they ran into Team Intel, but this is a good spot for Vizio to be in. They just got to be aware of over towards the side. You know, I'm not sure about this attachment that's coming through on the Wingman, the reloader booster. Having an extra little area on your screen is always just, the extra visual clutter doesn't really serve me. I almost don't ever pick that up. I don't know about you, Jamerson.
Yeah, it can be a little bit distracting, but, you know, sometimes you just like to have that look of the golden loadout there. Razor, though, fighting at the Skyhook tunnels right now. Both Gizzard and Nades needing some time to heal up, and this is a nice way to engage, especially just because you're basically fighting in a line. That worked towards Sear's advantage if he hits a nice Q there. But it looks like Razor is just going to go ahead and back away. That internal timing in the fights, you got to know. 30 seconds, way too long. You have to back away. You have to start making moves. They are going to go ahead and back out, noting that there's actually a res coming through here on the north side of the map right now. Charge rifle not quite connecting. He's only getting the little bits there. And now hits for Flesh, but unfortunately, the 3X just not doing the job for Nades there, unfortunately. But they will go ahead and continue to chase after them.
I like this adaptation of play. Charge rifle, yeah, like you said, the 3X, not an ideal situation for that type of range, but this is one of those weapons that's going to help charge your Evo shield up. It gets that damage going. Gets you feeling good, you know, right? You could be playing a lot of close range stuff on Valkyrie, but why not? It's very early into the game. It's a very open zone when you look at this northern zone. It's the perfect weapon for that type of situation, and it's just so darn annoying to play against. A lot of ammo you could see inside of that building, too, if they want to go and take that one. Now, what's the disadvantage? It's if you run into a team that's trying to pressure you with some up-close weapons, and they understand, all right, this team basically is down to one gun on one player, so can we go and push that one? And we'll find out if they do end up getting punished because of that loadout. But I like that. I like the minor adjustments that Razor has made today, putting themselves in 2 top 10 situations, picking up some placement points, a couple kill points along the way. They're looking good. Not as good as Team Nerf, though, who had a phenomenal game number 2. Looking to bounce back here and have another one on game number 3. This is our final match on the World's Edge 2, and glad we could see where they were shooting at right there.
Yeah, particularly when it comes to these northern circles, you want to have a charge rifle as well. So, like, you have to kind of decide what your loadout is based upon the circle. Being able to play in a decent spot, maybe on the high ground, north of the train tracks there, you can get involved in a lot of free, long-range third parties. Right now, though, it's Team Intel not really leaving the same spot that we saw them last time. It looks like Vizio are able to kind of farm Hundreds, who just got rezzed back into this one, thirsted as well. So right now, Team Nerf just struggling at this point. Excedrin find themselves in a fight here in round number 2. This is actually the slowest game that we've had so far, surprisingly enough, despite all of the early action here.
Which is pretty interesting because it's normally the opposite the longer that we go. And I think we saw a brutal game 6 yesterday in Stormpoint. Big nade from Cruisin. Cruisin had himself a day yesterday. Now landing some arc stars inside, not able to do the damage that he was looking for because that team has completely skedaddled on out of there. But the job is done. They've now taken them and put them in a situation where they have to be out in the open. Again, nice shots coming in. You're going to have to battery around the trailer, but look at everybody kind of doing their part. Kimchi's going to come and bait and switch while he's healing. Have Yanyan checking the backhand side. Kimchi with the knock right there, the flat line onto Key.
Yeah, and that's going to be the re-knock as well. Bubble has been used. They might be trying to go for that res. I don't know if they completely push the bubble. There's the knock onto Leda, only one remaining. That's someone's Sinus now going down. Excedrin, though, needs to enter and restabilize. But here's Razor fighting over at Survey Camp. It's just down to their Seer. Picks up that Thermite. That's going to be extremely useful in covering at least one angle. Again, has to be careful of his flank. Going for that res, at least trying to bait it out. The Q will go ahead and pop, and he knows exactly where that last player is. Spamming the angle, Arcstar in. Shouldn't quite connect here. He's still holding it down, going for that res, and this one he should be able to stick with that knockdown on top of him. The third party from Tyson is going to knock out Vermouth. They still need to get the second res. Tyson smells blood in the water. They're going to try and charge in, and they get the re-knock onto Nades. Gizzards has fallen. Only one player remaining. Razor has been knocked out. Team Tyson coming in for this cleanup. Now holding control over that Survey Camp side. Team Intel fighting another fight up against Vizio. Mooney caught inside of that black hole. Currently, they are fighting in the zone, taking so much damage there as they see two members going down, but Intel should be able to survive here. Impulse should be able to get Mooney and Fearless up.
Or, you know what I would do? Just skyward dive and leave them, Jamerson. Imagine if you could just grab your knocked teammates down on the ground and just fly with them, how OP that would be. But we'll see what Mooney's electing to do. He's going to go for the syringe into probably a bubble so they can maybe fast heal into this situation. They're not really worried about a third party coming in because they're so far into the zone, but everyone's going to be able to hit these syringes in zone number 2. If that was zone number 3 closing in on them, they would have been all but dead, but still plenty of time. And when you were saying it was a fairly slow game, I think that they heard you, and all of a sudden it started to turn up now. We went from 17 to 13 very fast.
Spectre Esports find themselves in a fight. It looks like Trap Lord going down, and I might be incorrect, but I believe Intelligence have already lost out one member or might have gotten the res. Here's Nerf, though, getting that knock onto Dutch, and so there's only one player remaining over here at Epicenter for Nerf to try and clean up. But you can see they're a little bit tentative. They don't want to full commit onto the push down towards that low ground because they know other teams are in the area. Now they'll secure that thirst onto Dutch and then just reestablish their position up here. This ring continuing to pull up to the north. Nerf in a pretty good spot. We'll see, though, if this ring pulls down towards them or if it goes up towards Excedrin, who I believe are playing off the train tracks right now.
Tough spot for Nerf is if you took a look at their cells, Forsey had 5 cells, but he had to heal about 3 of those. And then you can see there's only 3 cells for turns. So that kill down low may mean they need to go down and grab that loot. It could be a bubble loot situation. We'll find out what they elect to do, because that's just not going to be enough resources for the endgame, especially when you're not playing a Watson composition. 1 brain, 2 M&K. They're in a tough spot. You never really want to solo bubble here, but young Pup Tart has to do whatever he can to go and heal and stay alive. So fortunately for them, they're going to be able to run back to safety underneath the bridge over here, eating a lot of damage from behind. Nice job wiggle wobbling and hitting the battery at the right time. Young Pup Tart with the moves like Jagger. Nice job by 1 brain, 2 M&K. They're going to get out of dodge with the skyward dive, also getting a couple passives to find out where these players are going to be. Now with so many squads kind of still alive in the area, they're going to have to pick a decent spot. You almost want to go towards these train carts maybe all the way in the backhand side, but they're going to go for the hill up top where those banners are, and I almost think that that spot should be taken, but it looks like it could be free.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go a little bit further north. Like you said, going for the train carts instead. It seemed roughly clear for them, and this ring should continue to pull that way. We'll find out in just a moment, though. ICRVR with the second knock over here at Survey Camp. 1 onto Exit, 1 onto Thief Squad. Looks like DSO0 are going for that bubble res, and they will stick it, but they're going to have to eat some caustic gas. Brandon ends up going down. New trade, though, for 2. DSO Ace, the only one up. He takes big damage there, and he gets taken out. Now joining on board with Team Intel. Despite getting some early action, they are back here at Climatizer. Team above them right now. 10 squads remaining. You gotta feel like this is going to be a largely isolated fight for them. Fearless going for that peek, and oh my goodness, that Horizon barely surviving, but he's gonna change up that angle now to go for a re-peek now. You can see Mooney is in on that low ground buildings. They're just waiting out the caustic gas before they go for the next peek. You can see Fearless hitting that bat, and he is ready to go for round number 2 up against whoever this is. Mooney has been hitting these PK shots all day. That Horizon is not learning their lesson whatsoever. The black hole in, answered back from the other side, quickly cleared as well. Team Intel reset for this fight once more, just checking to make sure that they're not getting third party throughout all of this. And you can see Fearless now ready to go for another shot at this, but Excedrin is going to keep them at bay.
Smart from Fearless not to climb all the way up, because if you climb all the way up, then you're going to be still taking more damage, but you're climbing up to take the engagement, and you can't necessarily take the engagement if you've been shot in the back. So really smart play from him to fall back and try to reset over here, but it's almost surprising when he doesn't one clip somebody. That Horizon was so close to ending up going down and almost went down twice. Doesn't look like anybody has any grenades right now. Fearless is going to be trying to entry frag on over towards the side. This is going to be up to Mooney and Impulse to immediately collapse on whatever type of angles that Fearless is able to create for them, but Charge Rifle is not an entry frag type of weapon for Mooney, so he's just kind of falling back. Spitfire is going to do some really great work up close. Now you're seeing the different levels of gameplay coming out of Intel. Instead of taking the engagement, now they're more interested in pinging ahead of them to get over towards the zone and do a little bit of gatekeeping, kind of gathering all of the information possible to see exactly where the rest of these teams are.
Yeah, it's great when we get to join on board with Team Intel, because we can see exactly the decision making from process to process as they back away. Fearless finally gets that knock. That's going to be RMK going down. They do use that grab lift to change up the angle. Don, why not, will get finished off. And Team Intel ultimately awarded with these kills eventually. Oh, misses that last one. 10 for that one, but there we go. They'll be able to finish off MLPL and get some much needed heals there at the end. Team Tyson, though, are playing for the ultimate late game. They've got a lot of kill points here. Now they want that plus 12. Fearless ends up actually knocking down a third party. Running late gets finished off throughout all of this, and they got a knock onto Excedrin from Team Tyson here. We'll see if they can get a little bit more. It looks like Excedrin were backed up into that cart. Now ICRVR joining's a little bit late here on open night, but he has definitely put a stamp on this game. Oh my goodness, getting the footsies of Yanya there. Now there's only, I believe, one player remaining. It's going to be Kimchi Lee, trying his best to survive. Bubble down. ICRVR is there, and he is hitting everything.
Great angles right there. Now look at Intel. They're collapsing on this one. Even though that there hasn't been much damage put on over towards Tyson, they're interested in getting in, and they're able to possibly find one player. That's going to be MJ going down. You have one player that's going to be knocked on top of those boxes, as well as Mars Streams is going to be dropping over towards the side. And hello, Gibby. Try to crouch around the corner. It's just not going to happen. You know, Nerf's still in this one too, so our winners from the previous game, but You can just hear the chopper going in right now. That's going to be Fearless. He's still got that thing with a lot of ammo to boot. Ozkey, unfortunately, is going to be going down to Crummy with the PK. And Forsey as well with that 30-30. He's been putting in work with that one the entire game. I like that bubble coming in because Crummy's still weak turns, needs to heal as well. Forsey with the shots in the previous game with that Kraber. The flatline was in his back pocket, but he's also very mechanically gifted and sound with his abilities too. So you love to see that coming in from Nerf. Let's see who's going to be able to walk away with this one. A lot of damage from that missile storm for Crummy.
Yeah, most of these kills been basically taken by Tyson and Team Intel so far. Nerf, though, they just want to maintain their lead. They want to try and secure that plus 12 once again. It doesn't have to be a 20-point game for them. A 17-point game is just as well, as long as you keep the other teams at bay. Nerf, though, they've got a small sliver of this bottom platform to play off of, and some cover at least from that Team Intel side. So even though they've got threats all around them, their position isn't the most vulnerable. Nice shots out, keeping Bursty back. Oh, it looks like Team Intel are making the push. They've traded 1 for 1 as Bursty has gone down. And in this 4-team affair, we got basically 2 separate fights taking place. We'll see if Team Intel go for that full send right now. It looks like Z Davis is still up for Tyson, holding down that back angle. Intel was able to get their player back on up, and it looks like it doesn't really result into much other than the heals being used. Exit trying to come in for that third party throughout all of this. You can see Team Intel just trying to survive behind here. They've got that defensive bombardment going down. We'll see if it gets anything or if it allows Team Tyson just to reset.
What? He's eating the defensive bombardment right there. That's absolutely insane. There was 3 thrown, I believe, out of the 4 teams that were there. And you can see Xset is not rocking the Gibraltar, so that was not one of the teams that ended up tossing that one. But what a stacked final circle right here. I mean, completely stacked lobby in general, but you have Xset, one of our pro open teams, basically. You have Tyson during Tyson weeks has been playing phenomenal. They're going to end up taking that train cart. You have Nerf and Intel, all very viable teams here that can potentially walk away with this one. But don't count Xset out as a duo. We saw what Intel was able to do as a duo yesterday.
Yeah, Xset's doing a great job playing this one out as a duo. They're playing this like a 3-man. Team Nerf, they're going for the full send onto Intel right now. It's a little bit of a peek. Ring is closing in. Bubbles have been used from either side. Fearless out as he's trying to get on top of them. He goes down to that caustic gas. Forsey has fallen, though, to Mooney's PK, who has been absolutely stellar with it. End up cleaning up a few there. Nerf has been eliminated. Intel out now. It's a 2v3. Xset versus Tyson, but Tyson are contained inside of this car right now. Kenny receiving the brunt of that aggro now. Big shots out from Joey. Blackout and Team Tyson strike back, pushing out in this 3v2 with only Hakulo left, and they are going to be able to finish them off. Team Tyson ends up with the win here in game number 3.
Yeah, I think Z Davis slammed a couple anytizers and was like, yo, watch me play. Literally popped in the chat right there and said, keep the point of view on us, and they deliver. Nice job from Z Davis and the Tyson squad. Shout out to them for predicting a win. I mean, that was very rare. I mean, he called that one like Babe Ruth, right? He kind of just points over towards where he's going to hit the home run, and then boom, they make it happen. So you love to see it coming out from Tyson during Tyson Week, securing their first win of the day.
Yeah, and they needed this win on World's Edge, especially with how this circle was going, but I think they were doing a great job throughout this game as well. So it wasn't, again, you play center circle, you end up with 5 kills, you get the plus 12. No, this was much more than that. To keep pace with what our winning squads have been doing so far, they're getting the 24, 25-point games, which is so necessary going into the second half. It should be hotly contested top 3 once we get back from the break. Let's check in with some of the replays from this game, though. Again, it all starts off Tyson. They went 1 for 1 in this 50-50. Now they go 2 for 1 after 3 games.
This was very important to kind of get the confidence going through. And remember, Z Davis didn't have the best kind of situation against a Caustic in game number 2, where Durgan was just living as long as possible with a single amount of HP. But you saw a great rotation from Intel, leaving where the final circle was going to be, coming back around, getting some kill points along the way, etc. And they were in the area of where this could potentially be, but you saw the value of Watson inside of the train carts. It kind of reminds you of the old school meta when we had Pathfinder, Wraith, and Watson being played, and almost every single team had a Watson or was required to. and those train cards ended up becoming very, very popular, almost impossible to infiltrate with all the fences and that interceptor pylon down. But this has been a pretty decent day for Razor. I would love to see them pick it up in Stormpoint, which they have. And I love that they were able to get into the final circles for game number 1 and 2, but it didn't look like that was kind of in the cards for them here in game number 3.
Yeah, this was just too much of a pileup taking place over at Survey Camp, which is something that typically happens, of course, when we have these very northern pulls. That northern train track ending essentially is what we got here. But, you know, he does end up surviving thanks to Tyson coming in for the third party. But it was just a matter of time before they turned around to finish them off. And Tyson were able to get all of these re-knocks. So it's not just coming in for the third party, but also picking the additional 3 kill points at the end of that third party.
Got Fearless in the chat saying, I've never been nade dumped and ulted that much in a span of 2 minutes. And it was right when that bubble went down around the corner. And surprisingly, they were eating defensive bombardments and not taking damage. So there was missile swarms coming in. There was a lot of different things that were happening. But hey, Fearless, when you guys are sitting in first place and if you guys have been winning all these open days, I think it's pretty smart for them to be focusing you guys. So definitely watch out. But you guys have been playing phenomenal. It's been one heck of an open day. We're going to hit our halftime break here very shortly. But I'm looking forward to watching Stormpoint.
Yeah, let's go ahead and send it on over to Yeso before we swap on over to Stormpoint. So Yeso, go ahead and break down game number 3 for us.
Tyson on the board this time around, of course, right in the heart of Tyson week. So a big win for that squad who, you know, still have some work to do. They are on the outside looking in terms of those kind of top squads. But wins like these will help them certainly close that gap. Let's take a look, of course, at our champion squad here and their performance here in our final game on World's Edge. Really solid just all across the board. Everybody up over 1,800 damage. 16 kills from the squad. Icy leading the way with 6, but 5 apiece for Joey and Z Davis. Is just a really good team performance all across the board. They continue to use the Watson very, very well, and I'm just loving what I'm seeing from Tyson here as they continue to keep things rolling in Season 5 of Series E. And now we'll just have to see, because, of course, Nerf really were kind of gangbusters in the first couple of games. They had a really nice lead there after they won Game 2, and Tyson will close that gap a little bit. But the question is Nerf has been, as we've seen so far this season, very consistent. They are unlikely to slow down in the back half, so it's going to take these squads, you know, outside of first place, really putting some big numbers up in the last few games of the day if they want to catch up to Nerf, because they seem to be ready to keep things rolling on that front. But still, a 28-point performance here from Tyson's going to feel really nice, and that's certainly going to be a boon to them on that Mobile 1 leaderboard. Speaking, though, of Mobile 1, let's look at our Mobile 1 high-performance moment here from game number 3. And, of course, we're into the late game here, and it's a nice look as Nerf in the chaos. A lot of gas all over the place, and Intel on the other side of the wall here, but just running out of racetrack. And Mooney, hoping to get whatever KP that he could for the side of Intel, jumps over the wall to try and secure it. And then here, Xset, you know, it's a 2v3. You do what you can here, but you're going to be hard-pressed to win this fight normally, and especially when Tyson is on their game the way they were this time around, and Tyson doesn't miss. They grab a clean pickup on the win. Yeah, this is just, you know, well played from the side of Nerf there. Or, excuse me, it was Intel, I think, with the gatekeep with that caustic. So, you know, it's just really hard for Nerf to get any sort of kind of solid positioning within the zone there, and Intel gatekeeps them, and unfortunately Intel really not in a winning position there, and just means that Tyson, you know, not that they didn't earn it, but kind of gifted a bit of a victory there. I mean, thanks to a little bit of the chaos on the side. They took advantage of the opportunity. They grab a well-earned win to close out the first half, so well played from them. Can't wait to see how things have shaken out on the Mobile 1 leaderboard when we go back to Jamerson and T-Squared here in just a little bit. Now, before we go to our halftime break, do want to tell you about a little something new we're doing at our esports arena locations all across the country. It's called PvE. Now, we certainly love to do esports competition like this. Bunch of teams grueling it out over multiple games. big, long brackets. It's exciting. It's fun. But we know some of you at home, you can't compete in 3 or 4 hours long for a tournament. You want esports competition, a little bit more bite-sized piece as well. PvE offers just that. The way it works, head out to your local esports arena today. We run 4 different leaderboards every single week, each on different game titles and modes. And all you have to do, purchase some tokens from your local esports arena, put up your best scores, and you can win. Each leaderboard has its own $500 prize pool that you can get yourself. So head out to your local esports arena today and compete. We have competition across a range of different titles. Just like Sky is playing here in Studio Wide today, you could play Aim Labs, Valorant, Halo Infinite, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers Ultimate, Home Run Derby, and more. We change it up every single week. And the nice thing too is you can keep track of all of the scores on our 24/7 live streams over on YouTube. Competition runs from Wednesday all the way through Sunday every single week, so make sure to go out and compete in PvE today. If you could beat scores like Sky's putting up here in Aim Labs, maybe you could grab yourself $500 or more every single week. So head out, use exclamation point locations in Twitch chat right now. That'll take you to where all of our locations are all across the country. You can go out and compete in PvE today. So we look forward to seeing you at your local esports arena very, very soon. Right now, we're going to a quick break. We're headed to a little bit of halftime, but when we come back, we're headed to Storm Point, folks. Plenty more action here with Series E Apex Legends.
Listen up, esports should be for everyone. That's why Esports Arena's launched our own tournament series called Player vs. Everyone, where you get to compete at multiple different titles, multiple different locations, whenever you want. Just watch this and check it out. I believe we have the best Apex Legends PvE player. Oh, I think he's supposed to break in the record. Best Apex Legends player in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Whoa, whoa, Tyler, hold up a second. We got someone out here in Salt Lake about to smash the record. What'd I tell you? Salt Lake City every time.
PvE has something for everyone. Here in Miami, we absolutely crush it at Mario Kart. Coming to the final part. Oh, there we go. And that's going to be the top score for the day. See if you can beat that on the leaderboard.
The day's not over yet, Luke. Here at Esports Arena Cincinnati, we have somebody who's going to beat the Mario Kart record. So close. But the good news is you can always try again.
That's PvE in a nutshell. So find your nearest esports arena because it could be you atop the leaderboard. See you later.
All right, welcome back to Series E. We had an explosive finish there on World's Edge, but we're about to move on to Storm Point. It looks like the game might be ready. So let's check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard real quick here. Team Nerf still maintaining their place at the top, but Intel have not been quiet whatsoever. They now find themselves in second place with 36 points, and now, of course, rounding out the top 3, we got Team Tyson there with 29. Unfortunately, though, our winners from game number 1 running late have not been able to keep up that momentum, only picking up a few points in the last 2 games. We'll see, though, if Storm Point ends up being the difference maker for them.
That's such a big game from Tyson because they were sitting on that lower end of the leaderboard after the first 2 games with maybe only like a single breadstick to go with their chicken nuggets. So that was a tough couple of goes at it, and then they bounced back really, really strong. They are a very strong Storm Point squad as well. I thought that Razor was, playing pretty decent. They had 7 points in game number 1. If they kept that pace, they'd have been sitting around 21. But at least just seeing them on that left-hand side is big. They need to constantly be in that middle of the pack so they can gain confidence and then start boosting up the fact that they're above teams like Xset, Vizio, Excedrin. I think that's going to do great for their mental because they could say, hey, Xset's a really darn good pro team. And after 3 games, even though we weren't playing our best, we're still right there with them. So that's a great sign for them, and maybe they could just take little tidbits of information like that and kind of put it together because I, again, want to see them do really well. They're sitting at the bottom of our cumulative leaderboard, so we'll see who's going to be able to walk away with this one after 3 more matches here on Storm Point. It's been all Nerf all day. They've been putting together a very strong performance, and it's going to be fun to see now. It's going to be turns on Horizon instead of playing on Caustic like he was previously, and I feel like he's a very strong Horizon player.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. I think Tyson just had a 28-point game in that last one, so that absolutely did propel them up. I want to say it was 16 points for them, or at least in kill points. So we're joining on board with them for game number 4 here, our first game of the day on Storm Point. Nothing really changing for them. They are going to be more centralized in their drop location here, as they should, seems like, have this entire POI down for themselves. No one contesting them up in the North Pad area. We are joining on board with Xset, as you can see that Hakulo gets chased down, but he's got that cover from up top. Distinct Gamer going down early on. Xset ready for this 50-50.
Pretty interesting composition here. It's going to be fun to see what everybody kind of brings to the table. You have double rotations with Ashe. You have Valkyrie for that skyward dive. And you're going to be able to have Klain, who sets up with the Watson inside of the zone here. R301 Mozam, actually going to drop the Mozam for the Spitfire, having the 3x on that. Could be fairly useful a little bit later on, but if you don't have the hammer points inside the Mozam, there's no reason to rock that one. Definitely going to be needing some extra ammo if you're going to take this fight too, but this 50-50 is going to be going down no matter what.
Yeah. Don't know if they were able to secure that thirst. It looks like they do have another player isolated for now. Distinct Gamer getting finished off there by Hakulo. Now Kenny, getting cracked, has to back away. Unfortunately for them, it doesn't look like they have much in the way of heals. The last 2 cells in the back pocket for him as he does slide forward. Xset regrouping now to push as a full 3 to finish off this 50-50. As we join on board with Team Intel, of course, no strangers to early game fighting. Chansey goes down towards Mooney there, and it looks like Team Intel will continue to push forward. GAD, our second squad, to be finished off now as Team Intel continues to give chase to this team.
Love watching Intel play. Just such an aggressive squad and extremely talented in terms of individual play, but also their teamwork that they have. Fearless ends up backing off. Pretty rare misses coming in for Mooney. Don't try that at home, folks. You can see him kind of balancing up on top of the bridge right there as we take a look at where the zone's going to pull. Could continue to go on over towards Mill, maybe a couple of those smaller buildings. Mill is my kind of preferred POI to land on Storm Point. Love watching G2 fight over there too, but this is kind of surprising to see. I don't think anyone landed over there. I think Down Beast may have had 2 squads over there. Maybe the Mill did have someone rotate out of there a little bit later, but we are fairly far into game number 1 in terms of where people are. Game number 4 and zone number 1 in terms of where the rotations are going to be. So this is where the action and the fights start to take place.
Yeah, yesterday we saw after Intel took their initial fights over here at Barometer, they were getting 50-50. They would go ahead and rotate down to the southeast side, go over towards Fish Farms. We'll see if maybe they poke their heads across that way. as they are starting to head back over towards that southeast side. So that could be the game plan for them. I mean, we know that they have a similar game plan when they go Climatizer on World's Edge and then pull down south to try and get a fight at Overlook and then push even further if they are feeling frisky enough to go down towards Geyser. But, you know, they've been keeping up with the kills. They haven't been able to get as many placement points today, but it's been mostly kills for them. I think game number 3 was the best game for them so far in terms of kills and placement points. And now we saw yesterday, it was the second half where they really start to open things up.
No doubt about it. Now we're going to see what their plan is going to be and how they play this compared to World's Edge. And it's probably going to be that same style, Jamerson, where they're going to use those skyward dives a little bit later on to go and find kill points early on. Now Tyson is putting pings down over towards where the zone's going to be. And what a skyward dive here. They're getting some serious ground. A lot of times you end up running into mountains, etc. Not this time around. Icy has them flying first class.
Yeah, Icy sees the line. He's going to get them basically all the way from the east to the western side of the map with this skyward dive. Xset off their win at that 50-50 on the northern side of the map. Haven't actually moved that far. They're only on the east side of North Pad now, almost at the boundaries of the wall. They've got a team underneath them. And Xset, Klein, he wants to try and keep them contained, but it looks like they're just waiting things out over here at the armory.
And this is how the armory works. They actually put a portal up there, so when they get sent through, they get put over towards the side. Big brain play coming through. They can't escape. Oh my Hackulo. That could be a Mobile 1 high-performance moment. That is how you get people stuck inside of the armory. What a play from Xset.
Man, that was beautiful to see. I mean, typically you would see, you know, maybe something like the Trident being parked up there, but they didn't have time for that. They had the phase breach, and that was more than they needed there, able to pick that one up. It looks like maybe that last player was able to escape, and he has eyes on possibly coming back for those banners, but I don't think Xset's going to allow them to do that for now. But what a great way to start the game for them here in game number 4, picking up that the kills from the 50-50, and now picking up 2 kills there along with the armory loot essentially at the end. So really nice start for Xset, but now they should start eyeing about finding a spot inside the zone. They've got their early kill points. Now they need the placement points. On board with double tap though. Down here on the southwest side, they've got the bubble down, and we've got a fuse in the hands of Gorilla right now. The gravity cannon being used, and they eat themselves away. Arcstar as a parting gift, and fortunately for double tap, they're not able to keep that team contained. So those kill points are going to get away from them.
I like the thought process there from G-Rilla trying to get some extra damage with the charge rifle. Very close to being able to charge this one up on over to a red. And it could be the first red Evo of the game. Someone sign us looking for some damage over towards the window. We saw some really nice plays from them yesterday and even today. Locke's looking for the entry frag angle though, and Key's making his way in there. He's not playing around. The good thing about Key is he is playing on Horizon, so he's going to be able to do a couple different plays. He does have the grab lift. He has the black hole if he wants to go and use that one too. They have to get rid of that intercept pylon though, and before it's all said and done, they don't even take any damage and just drop Gamertown immediately.
Yeah, Big Nade came in, hit 2 or 3 players there, so that's going to be some free loot for someone sign us along with those kill points at the very least. Clearing out some of the southern side. They have to be careful about lingering around here for too long because teams should start rotating in from that Gale Station, from that Fish Farms area. On board with Spectre Esports. They are playing a little bit more northeast at this point as they've got a team coming down. Ooh, Intelligence ends up losing out on Need Reaper instantly there. Bordeaux taking some damage as he gets chowed, but here's Brandon now going for that second peek. Does have to back away. It looks like a third party is coming in. Spectre Esports are ready for it though, as they can go ahead and get the quick armor swaps for that reset. We'll see if the rest of the team wants to come in. Brandon, a lot of damage there, but you can see there's still a lot of distance in between defensive environment, or at least some missile storms coming in to slow things down at the very least. Spectre Esports going for that repeat, not able to connect with the Rampage shots quite yet, but again, they have stabilized for themselves and they have stopped this push.
It's okay, Noodle. That's how I shoot the Rampage almost every single time. I am just horrible with this weapon. Nice job getting the cracked shields across the map. Ripping those players with the revved up Thermite in there, you can see, all charged up and ready to go. Also a lot of different armor swaps in there for them if they want to go and charge these up. Have some extra loot and get some extra ammo along the way too. Man, you'd love to see a mag on that Rampage though. It would really help out with those long range shots. Instead, you're going to have to do that without that one. Now Nerf is going to be looking for angles on top of the mill. Crummy putting some pings down. He's got the 3X. He's got the car. You're going to have plenty of flight ammo for both of those weapons too. But this is going to continue to pull on over here, Jamerson. I don't know exactly where this zone ends specifically, but I like the positioning that Nerf's in.
Yeah, Nerf should be able to respond. Again, they have this big rock formation to play off of. If they need to go for a skyward dive, it's not going to be one of the risky skyward dives. If they need to get out for zone number 3 and zone number 4 for Razor, they're just holding down this south side as well to try and respond to that. They can wrap around either way. It looks like they're going to go for the skyward dive now without too many teams in the area. Again, utilizing the geography to minimize their vulnerability. They might be able to get that high ground angle. Here's Excedrin though. Urban coming in once more for Excedrin as that third player. They are in a fight right now. Haven't made their way out of checkpoint. Just kind of lingered here for some time. But it looks like that team might be backing away. Kim Chile will just go ahead and regroup with the squad. They ended up picking up that world spawn. Don't know exactly what they got out of there. Might have been the gold helm there for Kim Chile. But at least they do secure that for themselves, and they can continue to play off the replicator and beacon.
Big time ammo coming in for Kimchi right there. He was running super low, so shout out to his teammate for dropping around 100 there. And I think the game's trying to nerf Kimchi. That's why they gave him the gold helmet. They're like, you know what? We can't give you a Kraber. We know what you're going to do with that one. 2v1ing people. Most hated is looking for some damage around the corner. Great Arc Star should be able to land on that player, and it does. 70 damage. MJ putting in some work over there. And look at the flank coming in from base Stola. Not able to connect with all the shots, but still more than enough to switch on over to that PK. Looking for the final shots. And where's the rest of the teammates? They are there. Would have been a good opportunity to bubble if you really needed to, but they are A-okay with the armor swap. And then there goes the medkit. Double tap going out in 16th place. So this is your kind of typical, pro player pace here, Jamerson, with around 15 squads going into round 2 and round 3.
Yeah, round 2 just starting to close now, and a number of batter teams currently in the lobby. Razor, though, again, holding down this high ground just to the south of Mills. This is an excellent position if you're looking to charge up your Evo shields. Unfortunately, wow, looks like they have quite the tools to do it. They're getting flanked on the high ground now. Box of T needs some time. We do have Nades tossing down his ultimate, though, to try and give him a little bit more information. Q try and slow him down. He has to be careful about sliding off of this, where his team's going to be isolated now. There we go. The ultimate has been used. It was MPL pushing forward. Razor turning things around instantly. That's 2 knocks. And then the finish onto MPL. Razor swat down this push without losing anyone. And they get very necessary loot drops, basically, to hold on to up here.
And we're seeing them utilize a charge rifle in certain instances. It was Box of T on the previous World's Edge northern zone. Now it's going to be nades coming through. And I like this because, again, it's all about getting damage, getting that confidence going, laying down some shots. Much needed loot, as you had previously mentioned up here, so you can eventually swap out weapons for that one and continue to have different weapons that you can kind of cycle through based on the situations that you have. Let's see if you can get anything better than a gold helmet this time around. It looks like, if I'm not mistaken, that was the scout in there, and Key's not interested. I feel like the scout is still pretty strong, and the double shot from that thing is a little bit stronger than it used to be too. So if you're able to keep your reticle steady and your aim on top of the players, you're going to be putting in some serious work. But with such an open zone, I would have loved to see him pick that one up, but he's just not interested.
Yeah, it's quite not what the scout was of later days. This ring does continue to pull away towards the western side, favoring Mills even more. Don't know if the buildings are in, if those high ground angles are in. Someone's sinus, though, meeting some resistance as they're trying to rotate through. Here's Team Intel. I believe this was roughly the area where Razor was before when they used their skyward dive. Spotting out one by himself. Fearless creeping up as he's trying his best not to make any noise here. Trying to get on top of that player with the rest of his team coming in. James Fearless, this is the slowest we've seen him play so far. Now, he's heard me, and he's going to charge forward. They've got one isolated player in the back, but no angle there, unfortunately, for Fearless. Needs to get to the rooftop for that one, but Team Intel And you want to try and find these early game and mid game fights. Unfortunately, just has not been coming their way.
This is also how Intel is able to learn, right? Because on World's Edge, you're able to run around and understand where people are going to be coming from. That's still something that you're trying to find out here on Stormpoint, where the rotations are, where the popular hotspots are to go and take fights. And a lot of times it's based on where the zone is where you're going to set up for these potential fights. Just like in game number 1 on World's Edge, they were outside the fragment area and the choke because they knew that was going to be over towards Geyser. But there's been years and years of World's Edge practice for these guys compared to just months on Stormpoint. So definitely a little bit of, you know, an awkward situation when you're looking for kills and you're not able to find it. But keep in mind, with that Valkyrie meta, you can always just try to find that skyward dive into the zone and play over towards the end game. It's just a matter of where that real estate's going to be available for you. Now we can see the zone continuing to pull on over towards the mill. That's going to be the third pull on over towards that side. A lot of action happens over towards where Vizio's going to be. Their rotation's going to be fairly tough.
Got a lot of fighting here on the eastern side right now. So Vizio maybe hoping that a fight breaks out and they're able to come in for that third party up against running late Inspector Esports. They are eyeing it for the time of being. And they've got 3 seconds now, so there's not much time for any of these teams really to be fighting out here. So it might just be posturing until they can go for a skyward dive. We'll find out in just a moment. Round 3 is closing as we have hit the point where we have got 14 squads, 38 players. So a number of squads actually currently damaged right now. 4 players missing out of the lobby currently. Exit though find themselves a nice place outside of checkpoint, but they've got a team contending against them on the other side of this building currently.
If a nade starts coming through, Klane's gonna elect for the interception pylon, but also they aren't using that quite yet because of the fact that, oh, Kenny getting knocked by turns with a charge rifle. Couldn't make it inside of the building. There goes the interception pylon. Interesting spot considering you would think that that could be shot at. There goes the defensive department on top, and now more players are setting the focus over towards where XSET's going to be. Key finds the scout. He gets a knock on the 00 negative in your kill feed. Lightstar Joe starts to heat up as well, and now XSET is feeling the wrath of some more charge rifles. Running late gets taken out. Key finds the kill lead, and big shots there onto Kimchi and the Thirst. That's going to be tough without a mobile respawn beacon. You can see they do pick up the banner basically instantly, but unless these boxes have a little present for you, it's going to be tough for Kimchi to get back into the game.
Yeah, I don't think you can actually take the time to try and plug him into the beacon that's right there inside of checkpoint, unfortunately. So this might just be a 2-player affair. Vizio, though, finding themselves a fight on the southeast side. They have to back away now. As you can see, Borton was dropped down low. Sung gets the knock onto James Fearless, though, with that bow check bow. They have not kind of stabilized at this point, so they can't really force the issue yet. Might buy time for Team Intel to be able to get the bubble res onto him. Spectre Esports now pushing out. They end up knocking out someone. Sinus, we're down to 10 squads. 27 players remaining here. Spectre Esports, though, still have to deal with walking in with this zone. 45 seconds to clear their path for themselves. Vizio sliding down now, getting further and further away. Born re-knocked by Impulse here. We'll see. Fearless up and at him. Gonna go ahead and push forward. Almost gets the knock onto that Gibraltar, hitting for flash. There we go. Knocks out 6. Now Vizio just down to 1 player remaining. Team Intel, though, how much longer can they stick around here for? 20 seconds to go before the zone starts pressuring them. And now it's Razor taking that height to try and get an angle on them right now. They get the re-knock in just a moment as that black hole comes through. Razor pushing forward. They got the cracks. Now they're just contending with Mooney, who has been taken out. Fearless will fall as well, and Team Intel are down in 10th place.
This is where the confidence starts to build for Razor. This is the type of game and the performance they needed. And I really feel like once they saw that leaderboard and they saw where they were with XSET, they're going to be feeling really good about their situation and their confidence. Now that take down Team Intel, they're moving and they're thumbing, moving up into the air exactly when that zone's going to be closing out over towards their back. Where can they afford to go, though? Can they play one of the roofs of the mill? Is the inside available? We'll find out exactly what happens with this Valkyrie passive coming through. Now Macintosh, they're trying to send on over towards this building. You're not going to be able to get the player scans on the actual building inside, and you can see from the player outlines there are a handful of different teams over there. Thought maybe the back of the mill could have been a little bit more of a favorable position, and now they're dealing with I believe it was G-Rilla who was sitting on top of this fuse and continues to put in some serious work. Turns looking for some more fighting with the charge rifle. This is the team that's inside the building. Great job from Reservers picking this one up, but Turns is being so annoying inside of here.
Yeah, he's helping out very much so to keep them alive right below them at this point. Team Nerf, though, they just want the kill points. Despite Turns having gotten 1,400, 1,500 damage very shortly here, hasn't gotten any kills yet. Excedrin does end up going down. Gordo picking up that last kill onto Cruz, and we're now down to 6 full squads remaining. The ring is closing on this building just outside of Mill on that eastern side. 2 buildings are in play currently, so our squads can survive here into that last 6th circle with so many levels still involved. But let's go ahead and swap around to see who else is here. We know that we've got Spectre Esports still alive, playing off that cave. Tyson finding themselves in another late game finish here outside of Mills as well.
Looks like Noodle puts down box of tea there from underneath. See if the bubble res comes through. Like you mentioned, Tyson is in a decent position. Now he's looking for potentially Turns his face inside. Nades gets taken down by Crummy, so Razor looking like they are falling apart underneath the building, but they are still alive and well. 140 right there with the Kraber. Looking for some more. Seeing some amazing Kraber shots there. Noodle's not able to find any kills, but at least putting down a lot of damage and a lot of fear into the enemy players in the enemy teams right now. Now's the opportunity to advance, Chamber, so you can see defensive department comes out. The damage has been done, and they're trying to advance. If they need the bubble around the corner, they could use that one, but look at all that loot down there that they have.
Yeah, that's going to be perfect for him because eventually he's going to run out of shots on that Kraber. Only about 4 left, and he's going to want maybe something a little bit more semi-automatic ready for himself. Team Tyson, though, still playing inside. Will go for that peek out. Gotta be careful with this. Challenging into the PK with that EVA 8. Do trade effectively here. Icy River still going for the chow as that EVA 8 is dishing out some decent damage on the other side. They're just going to go ahead and retreat and give this one up. Tyson holding down their stairwell quite well. 2 players knocked on the outside as the young Pop-Tart goes down to most hated from the out. Most hated now, playing off the fence line, adding an easy angle here. Marstream goes for the chow, but goes back. Oski ends up getting that knock. Marstreams that's her back. 1 brain, 2 MNK down. The bubble res is here. Tyson will not be able to try and get the push quite yet. Never mind, I spoke too soon. They push out in the bubble. They lose out on Joy. Blackout throw all of that. ICRVR might be the next one to fall. Z Davis, though, dealing with a threat behind them as well. Z Davis is now the only one alive left in this 1v1. A lot of knockdown shields for them to both try and play off of. The fence line, just in case, covers at least 1 angle here from that push, so he just needs to cover the right, but he needs to heal. You have to imagine heals are being used on the other side. Marstream not actually connecting with anything. Slide in!
Nice!
And there it is. Most hated gets taken out. Tyson still alive. 3 full squads remaining. And because of that situation, neither side really want to try and force the issue. Spectre Esports is stacked right on top of Razor, right below them. Of Nerf right below them.
Z Davis is so improved over the previous seasons. You can see how much damage he was doing underneath the building, the slide in there, the confidence that he has, allowing the reses to come through. You'd love to see that out of Tyson. The bubble fight just didn't really go as they were hoping. They were thinking that maybe they could come in there a little bit cleaner, not get any teammates knocked, but instead they still have a great chance of winning this game. Now, it's kind of an interesting situation, right? Because you have both of these teams on top of one another. They're going to both be looking over towards your side. You have to eventually rotate on out. So what's the plan going to be here? How do you basically maneuver around the map in the open without a bubble to force these guys to fight? And they're going to use a little bit of a missile swarm, come around the corner. Eventually, they're going to have to bubble. And once that bubble goes down, I really feel like both of those teams are going to shift their focus on top of them. And you really have to have that interception pylon for when the bubble goes down. So hopefully Z Davis had either an ult excel or was able to pop that one in general. Nerf with the Cat's Cradle underneath. That's going to be 4C switching off of his previous legend and going on over. I believe he's playing Gibraltar. Now he's gone Watson. So this is a great job by setting up early from Nerf.
Devo turbocharger for Turns to try and finish things off here in the final 3 squad situation. Does look like that height was given up by the team up top. Spectre Esports had to fall down. Turn's going to eat a little bit of that damage, but here's the turbocharger coming in. He's trying to clean up, but Z Davis ends up picking up 2, and that's going to be Nerf knocked out. Tyson with a quick armor swap, but right on top of them is that Singularity and Most Hated. We see the Spectre Esports will go ahead and charge in to finish them off. Spectre Esports are able to secure this win, and they get the kill leader as well with 6 at the very least. So a very nice game number 4 for them.
That black hole did so much damage. Brandon put that perfectly in terms of the placement, and then you saw the thermites coming in, Jamerson. That was some serious damage towards the tail end of that game, and it exploded fast. They took down 2 teams almost instantly. Yeah, they had some help from Tyson over towards the side, but props to all of the teams that made it into that final circle. Razor starting to heat up as well, so I want to give them a shout out. But all in all, it was Spectre. You could see with these highlights early on, they found themselves with some fighting, but getting into that final circle, and again, Brandon with that amazing black hole was just phenomenal.
Yeah, they were able to set up that position expertly here. Tyson, though, I want to, shout out them. They did a great job of putting them, getting themselves out of that really difficult spot. They were going to be the first team out of the 3 and are forced out of cover. Like you said, using that missile swarm to go out for that first maneuver without having to expend the bubble, and then having an additional bubble to try and push out towards the outside of Nerf's building. Razor, though, I believe this was the nice kind of turnaround when they got flanked on. This was Team Intel involved in a big pileup of teams here, and despite Intel having some of their best games on Stormpoint yesterday, this wasn't quite one of them today.
Good shots, great nade from Gizzard McIntosh, and again, they're starting to really heat up turns with the charge rifle as being a nuisance inside of these buildings. Like you said, had around 1,500 damage, wasn't able to get the kills that they were looking for. Great shots from Noodle. You could see it wasn't an easy rotation for them. A lot of these other teams already were set up in the building. They had to fight their way over there, but it was the Kraber play focusing. I believe this was Team Razor down below. Once Razor gets eliminated, they kind of advanced and then were able to gobble up some of this real estate. Great defensive bombardment coming in from Noodle. Also the presence of mind. This is a moment where I'd have loved to see Joey Blackout bubble, right? He's in a great spot. Z Davis is putting in serious damage. A bubble here from Joey Blackout is an easy clap on these guys. So I feel like this is a little bit of a minor misplay, and I'm not sure exactly which team this was, but if that was Spectre, then you're looking at a potential game-changing situation. And also they wouldn't have had to have Z Davis clutch it around the corner here, because this is when they ended up taking a fight that probably could have cost them the game, and there was an opportunity to win that one. So I would love Tyson to go look back at that, and Z Davis to call for a bubble right there, or Joey to have the presence of mind to say, hey, there's still plenty of time left in this zone. I'm going to have more than enough time to have that bubble come off cooldown. I'm not sure if it was on cooldown there, and that could have been the reason not to use it, but that's a perfect instance with Z Davis coming in and baiting and switching and all that damage that's going down. They need to take that fight and take advantage of the amount of great plays that Z Davis was making.
Yeah, regardless, though, they end up with a top finish here in game number 4. Not quite the win. It was Spectre Esports that got it. Let's go ahead and send it over to Yeso, though, to break down our first game of the night on Stormpoint. So, Yeso, go ahead and take it away.
Some well-deserved love there from T-Squared for Team Tyson, because if you checked that Mobile One leaderboard after game number 3 and you notice they've got 29 points, that means that they had only 1 point through the first 2 games, so that's a really rough start, but Tyson have pretty quickly picked it up. They get the win in game 3, 28 points there. They get another top 3 finish here in game number 4, and they've really come alive. They still have some work to do because Nerf have really done great work so far today. They're in the top 3 once again, and they're going to kind of widen that lead a bit more here. But of course, the story of game 4 is Spectre Esports and just being in a really great position, and they get the benefit of Nerf and Tyson kind of having to fight their way through each other to get into the safety of the circle, and they're able to come in for the third party and grab the win. Let's take a look at their performance here in game number 4 with our champion squad, and it was Noodle leading the way. Of course, we got a good look at Noodle with some of those shots with the Kraber. Finishes with 6 kills and 4 assists and almost 2,200 damage, so that's a big showing from Noodle in that one. And Spectre really have been looking solid over the last couple of weeks. They keep showing up in a lot of these late games, and they end up grabbing the victory here, and that's a nice performance from them, picking up 13 kills and the 12 points, of course, for the victory. So Spectre with a good showing in game 4, and still 2 more games remaining to see if they can build off of that performance. Now, let's take a look at our Mobile One high performance moment here of game number 4. And this one, a little bit of fun here as we jump on board with XSET. They're on top here of this IMC armory, and just such a beautifully placed Ashe ultimate. We love seeing the kidnaps from people with the Wraith, and this is just so well done from Hack here. Ready for it. Little hop throws down the ultimate, knows as soon as that player hits that jump pad, is immediately going to go right through. Tries it again. Doesn't quite work out. Gets knocked there. And that's so good. It's so funny. Well played there from Hack and XSET. I just love seeing those nice little interactions when these players get creative with their abilities, and it certainly worked out and grabbed them. Little KP there on top of that armory. Well played there from XSET. Of course, Spectre Esports grabbing the win in game number 4. We're going to a break right now, but 2 more games remain, so don't go far. We'll have more Series E in just a few.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
For nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist, I'm never old enough to give a promise.
All right, welcome back to Series E. It was Spectre Esports to take our first win on Storm Point tonight. So let's see how that bolsters their chances on the leaderboard. That actually propels them up to 2nd place now. Nerf, though, still firmly in 1st place with 60 points.
Nerf has been having themselves one heck of a day, but Spectre is one of these open teams that's now starting to make a name for themselves, because this is twice in 2 days that they found themselves in 2nd place. Now, yesterday, granted, it was early on after our first game or two. But today, they're really putting it together, especially with that win that they had in game number 4.
Yeah, Nerf not safely in first place, though. Only 11-point difference between them and Spectre. Tyson right behind, along with Intel. And it's maybe most hated that's a little bit out of range. 25 points, but they do have 2 games to make up for that. We have 2 games remaining here on Storm Point to close it out. And we had a very tight race yesterday amongst our top 8. It was really around 8 or 7 teams that were contending for that first and second place spot. We'll see if that happens at the end of game 5. But here we go. Getting into game number 5. Let's join on board with Spectre Esports. See where they end up dropping here on Storm Point.
Love watching the initial strategies coming through. We did have some 50-50s that were taking place too, so we're going to have to keep eyes on that. Can't remember exactly what team it was, but Boomer Memory, kind of coming into play right there. Now Spectre Esports, after that amazing end game. Remember, Brandon with that black hole, everybody following it up with the thermites was absolutely huge. TSS 0 before we could blink. Spectre before they even can land, and now has a team already being eliminated. That's insane for how fast that 50-50 took place.
Yeah, it looks like one more 50-50 taking place. It's going to be someone sign us up against Intelligence Gaming right now. Leda already getting the first knock over here at Antenna. They're going to go ahead and charge forward. The Gibraltar's by himself. Finally picks up a gun, but not in time. The finisher coming in to get rid of him. Key, though, might have found the last player underneath. Never mind, Intelligence was knocked out. So yeah, these 50-50s going extremely fast. Intel, though, over at Barometer, no strangers to 50-50s themselves. James Fearless right on top of this Valk, trying to give chase here. And oh boy, you don't want to take to the skies up against him right now. The EVA 8 out, his for the 24. Lost him for just a moment here, but he will be able to chase after him with that Horizon passive. No problem.
Finish it.
Biscuits and crackers is served for dinner tonight.
Yeah, that was unfortunate that you end up going up against Team Intel, especially Fearless, who's just zooming around the map right now on that Horizon. Now it's a 2-on-3 situation. Spectre looks like they've spotted a team out. Alternator shot's not going to connect there for Brandon. The alternator, every noob's favorite weapon. I play with my locals here, Jamerson, and they love the alternator. I'm not going to lie.
I'll be honest with you, it's the rate of fire. It just makes tracking so much easier. With the R9, you miss a track for a split second. That's half of your clip gone. But it looks like Spectre Esports are getting the better of this fight. They're making their way on in. We get our first look at the ring as well. We'll check back on that in just a moment as Spectre Esports finishes off this fight in just a moment. There we go. Brandon getting the knock onto one. It's traded back though. Noodle has fallen. Spectre Esports, do they go down early here? It is a 1v2 and Spectre Esports will fall. MLPL, the ones to take them out. Now, we finally get to take a look at the ring, and this one is pulling down towards the southwest side, towards Team Intel.
Yeah, over towards that barometer area, and Intel will see if they elect to go for the zone here, or if they just want to play for kills like they typically do. A couple of teams in the vicinity, you could see 6 making his way over towards where Sung's going to be. Sung's kind of just big chilling, doing a little bit of gatekeeping over towards that choke area and securing that for his team before the rest of them arrive. Razor's going to have to deal with a couple of teams coming in over from Fish Farms area. You can see Lumdums in the vicinity too. Stormcatcher's completely free. Lightning Rod's going to be a fairly easy rotation coming out for them, and that means that's going to be favorable for Tyson because that's a good rotation for them. So excited to see how this one's going to pan out and who's going to be ended up taking game 5. We have 2 more remaining here. It's been all Nerf though. Nerf's, yes, like you said, only in an 11-point lead, but the way they've been able to play overall has been pretty impressive.
Yeah, when you think about how many points they're averaging every single game, hold on just a moment. Intel spots out another player here. I'm wondering if this is going to be Vizio. Oh, no. Already dropped down low. That's hit for flash. That is Sung falling now. The black hole is used. Fearless gets caught in it, but he uses that grab lift to quickly maneuver himself out. He will fall, though. Borden picking that one up. It's a 1-for-1 exchange, and they need to apply pressure. They can't allow them to go for a bubble res here, which they might be doing right now. And there it is, a bubble res from either side. And Sung needs to desperately back away from this one. Still plays around the bubble for now. Borden, though, with the bow check bow, keeping them at bay, will force them back. And neither side just going to go ahead and recover and reset for themselves. 6 is trying to find an angle on that left-hand side. Try to cut them off from getting into Barometer, but it looks like Team Intel might have been able to successfully back away. No, they're stuck in the rocks right now, and Borden is the one that has the angle.
What a crazy turn of events there for Intel. You don't really think that that's going to be a case where nice job with the arc star from Borton. He's got these guys lined up in his sights. He's not letting go. Doesn't really want to heal because he has the advantage. 6 is taking a flank on over towards that west side. Very rarely do you see Intel grab a 2-on-3 advantage and then have to back off. That was a very, very weird situation for them. Now someone sign us is stuck underneath on the bottom side of the ramp over here, and Leda ends up taking a decent amount of damage. Ends up going for the cell, or the battery, excuse me. Then he's going to go and have to hit that syringe here very shortly, but it's going to be 2 syringes to get back on over towards full, so he goes for the med kit actually instead. I like that play. Could possibly see a bubble coming down if they really need that one, but this is running late. Our winners from game number 1, they've been kind of silent since then.
Yeah, things just not quite working out for them. They were able to do a great job of playing off that geyser circle. This time around, though, they find themselves early, center zone, basically over here at the barometer side, still challenging the squad down below, but it's just a matter of time. Playing the stairway early on is typically not what you want to do. Razor, though, find themselves in a black hole right now. We do have that Seer ultimate going down. It's Intel making the push onto Razor from one fight to the next. They've lost out on Mooney, but they do trade. Oh no, Impulse left now. Down to this 1v1, but he will secure the dub over here at Shipfall and get the reses onto Fearless and onto Mooney. And it's surprising because honestly, they were just fighting up against Vizio not 20 seconds earlier.
A little bit of revenge, though, too, because Intel was taken down by Razor. A little friendly rivalry happening between our partner teams. And we all know that it's best served cold, so nice job by Team Intel taking down Team Razor. Unfortunately for them, now they're going to have to pick up the majority of their points in game number 6. But I like the way that they've played. I think that we saw enough, for me at least. I don't know about you, Jamerson. I've seen enough from Razor to think that they're able to compete now, even after having their total points doubled. Yes, it's still very early in Series E, but they're kind of finding their flow, whether that was Seer or just kind of the vibes that they brought today. I think that they were on top of their team fighting. I saw some nice plays in terms of where they were positioning themselves, and there's a lot to be hopeful for Razor and their fans. Now Most Hated looking like they are trying to put down some damage. I like the defensive bombardment being led on over towards where the side is. Good black hole. That's going to land a little bit, and also some damage on the player. That's going to be no shields. Should be a finish off onto Azath. We've seen some phenomenal plays coming out of MJ on this horizon.
There we go. One last tap to finish off Azath and secure that thirst. So everything is going to reward them at this point, holding down on that northern side of this zone. Round 1 about to finish, closing in about 45 seconds, and we're already down to 15 squads, 42 players. MJ, you need to get moving, man. Oh boy, he does get cracked for that, but he will be able to fall back towards the building that they had before and just maintain this position. This could just be another fight for them. I'm wondering if this is another squad, and it looks like it is going to be a full squad on that hilltop just to their east. And so Most Hated, knowing them, they might actually try and force the issue here and go for another fight.
Definitely an aggressive team, and playing an aggressive composition too, very similar to what Intel is capable of doing, who is playing the edge of zone number 1. We know that that's not going to be doing any damage, but look at the player that's no shields down behind. Fearless is electing to shoot the further player, but they still have this guy on the ropes directly in front of them. You can see the pings are going down. Fearless isn't aware of where that guy is. If he was able to throw a grab lift, he should be able to get an angle. They also have a thermite in hand if they want to go and use that one for Mooney. Impulse takes some damage. He's going to back off. That was Lumdum going down to the car shots from Fearless. Now the nades are starting to come through, and Fearless is going to start to push.
This is such a surprising kind of situation for Team Intel, really, to be able to find the fights that they are, isolated ones on the southeast side. And I mean, they ran into a little bit of resistance from Team Vizio. James Fearless with the dancing shoes on here. Nerf, though, in a spot of trouble. All players cracked right now, trying to reestablish themselves. I believe this is the position that Most Hated were playing out of right now. They've got a Valkyrie deep in the skies there. Nice shots out from Forsey there, as MLPL will get finished off by Team Nerf. And they keep Most Hated at bay for the time being. So Nerf now just taking the time to slow heal things out here on the northern side. It looks like they've got plenty of time to just kind of linger and work their way on in. I'm wondering if there's maybe a beacon around this area for them to pick up, because they would most definitely like to pick that one up with how kind of ambiguous the circle could be.
Come on, Jamerson, you know I don't know what ambiguous means. Why you got to do that to me?
Right now, though, as you can see, Team Intel not out of trouble quite yet, still continuing to fight left and right. I'm surprised they still have all of these heals. Fearless, it's not quite 12 bats, but he's got 3 in the back pocket for now. They have to work their way on in. Ace comes up from behind and gets the knock onto Mooney, and that is the Gibraltar. There will be no bubble. Impulse and Fearless just need to scrap for this one. You can see Mooney getting thirsted off outside. Ace is right on top of him, though. That was a huge mistake. I'm surprised he actually went down to secure that one for himself, and Fearless is instantly going to get revenge for his squad mate and back away with that banner.
It's always the worst, too, once they win the team fight and they take advantage of your interception pylon after that. Borton's got the 30-30. He's putting in some serious damage over there, so Vizio's starting to get up around the corner. Hello, look out, the burst, the 163. I think Fearless needs a refund on his PK, though, because as Blight's Bathwater is going to go down and GAD gets eliminated, pretty sure something's wrong with his PK. Oh, the disrespect. Borton's now popping off again with the 30-30 from across the map. What were you doing, Fearless? Oh, you know, just rubbing it in. Don't worry, I'll come back and get you and then just take everybody out. Yeah, I'd rather play by myself is what Fearless is saying. He's just ready to go. One-man army.
Impulse and Mooney gone. Borton looking to try and finish off Impulse here. But at the very least, Intel will be able to play as a 2-man. Don't know if he'll have an opportunity to come back for this banner. It is round 2 closing. So this one doesn't sting as much.
Look at the respect
that
showing.
Fearless is on it, though. He can go ahead and drop down, use that gravity lift, retake heights, and then go back up. But for right now, Vizio trying to finish them off, unfortunately, will not be able to quite yet. Borton is just so determined to secure this one. There we go. Impulse now getting finished off will allow Fearless to pick up that banner and go for a double res.
Crazy respect coming out from the enemy team there, from Team Vizio. I mean, they're even letting Fearless, like you said, go for this banner. And while they could be kind of baiting Fearless in, I feel like this is just them saying, all right, well, we're a little bit timid. We're a little bit scared. Keep in mind, that's not their full Vizio roster. 6 kind of filling in there. But if they had the information that we had, I feel like they thought that that was a 2-on-3, Jamerson. They really didn't realize that it was just Fearless alive.
Yeah, it's become so much harder to try and like call these fights as an IGL, right? Because of the anonymous mode and trying to keep track of all these numbers. Gibraltar 2319 has gone down, and you don't know which one exactly that is. Lox ends up getting a kill onto Vermouth there on the kill feed as Xset just patrolling here on the western side. They've even got that beacon to play off of for this next ring. That's going to prove so valuable for them. We'll see if they can get that scan. Hakulo, Kenny, all of them could actually really go for it here. They don't have a bubble, so it's not going to be the safest, but they can still try and get it. It looks like Team Vizio keeping an eye on that eastern edge. Intel trying their best to secure their loot once again, as Borton will continue to lay down the pressure. Bubble has been used by Mooney as they back away. Vermouth getting knocked out. We're now down to 11 squads.
I thought there was a really interesting mechanic that Borton was doing right there. Very small, but if you notice it, he was really not using his reticle to aim as much as he was his legend. And that's something that you can do in a lot of different first-person shooter games, especially when you're long range. But if you're able to kind of just keep your reticle in the right spot, a lot of times you can just use your movement to aim. And I think a lot of players kind of struggle by maybe maneuvering the reticle a little bit too much and being a little bit too wild with that one. So the calm, cool, and collected plays from Borton has probably been why he's been able to hit and be successful with so many 30-30 repeater shots.
Now, we join on board with One Brain, 2 MNK. They're on the hunt for, it looks like a rat outside here. Never mind, it's Team Intel. Mooney going down for the second time this game. Oski does have to be careful. Could have fallen there. We'll see if Team Intel, if maybe James Fearless is busy plugging in Impulse right now, joining on board with Team Nerf. They find themselves inside the Grove, just outside of Barometer. This ring continuing to pull ever and ever closer towards the main buildings of Barometer here. Nerf still have a ways to go and a lot of resistance in the way. 30 seconds before the zone starts closing in. We'll see if they can try and navigate these waters expertly.
One thing's for sure, they got some decent cover from the grove and the trees surrounding that area. So they're not really needing the interception pylon here, which is going to help charge up those fences. So that's why you're not seeing so many forces or so many fences being put down by Forsey, as the bubble is being used by Kim Chi Lee, one of our strongest Gibraltars and individual players that we have in Series E, but he's running away from his teammates. I mean, look how staggered they are right here, and that's not what you want to have for Gibraltar, so the positioning is a little bit off. Now one brain, 2 M&K taking some serious damage. It's MJ again on that horizon. I love those arc stars, but they, I thought they were going to connect, but they do. Big 130 damage overall from them, but now it's Vizio coming in with a potential third party here. They don't want to drop all the way because their height is a really good position, so 6 is kind of locking things down because he understands that Portland and Sung are the entry fraggers, but once they realize that they have this team on the ropes, they're all going to drop down, and look at the flank coming in from 6.
Big flank out there. Doesn't get the knock quite yet, though. Now he's in some trouble himself. Backs away, plays the double layer of the bubble. Marstream has gone down. The 6 will ultimately fall to turns. He does have that G7 scout from up top. Now Sung goes for that repeat. Nerf now flipping things around. They're the ones with the height control in this third party. 6 gets finished off there. Vizio, though, still in their fight with Most Hated, actually finishing them off. But now it's about trying to find a moment to try and plug 6 back into this one. But I don't know if they have a respawn beacon. I don't know if they'll even have the vertical clearance to get one down from down there.
That was a really tough spot for 6 to be in because, again, with Gibby, you want to be close to your team. He doesn't have an escape. He does have the bubble, which was utilized to perfection from 6. But I liked the play. It's just whenever you're playing at this type of high-level Apex, 6 will know this better than anybody, you get punished for even the smallest mistake. So a little bit of being out of position away from his teammates gets capitalized on immediately. And then not only that, he gets third-partied over from the side. So there's really not much that you can do because you're trying to help your teammates. So realistically, maybe sticking with your teammates would have been the best option right there. But either way, like you said, Jamerson, we'll see if he can get back into this one. Double tap eliminated in 9th place. Xset looking pretty solid. Again, remember that amazing play Hakil had over towards the armory. Amazing stuff from Team Xset. Now they're putting themselves in a pretty decent position. It's been a little bit of a slow day for them, but I'm absolutely stoked to see them competing today.
Yeah, it's rough because, you know, the teams that they've been kind of rotating into have not made it easy whatsoever. Impulse going down meant that James Fearless was able to plug him back in, but he does get thirsted. At this point, I believe we're not able to get Mooney back into this game unless he's able to find another place to try and plug him in. It looks like there might be a mobile respawn beacon or just a respawn beacon that is slightly active there right on the corner, but no, never mind. Intel has been knocked out. Excedrin, the ones to do it. We are now down to 7 squads. Vizio, the only one that is currently playing without their third. That's going to be 6th, their Gibraltar, out of this game. We'll see what they can do playing from that low. Nerf has an excellent position here, basically. Wherever this ring pulls for that 6th zone, they should be able to find a rotation in, but they do have someone now challenging them for this high ground.
This could be that type of range for turns to go for the double shot with the increased kind of damage and recoil that you have from that one. I would have loved to see it, but 6, like you were mentioning, needs to get respawned, and they were able to do so. So that's going to be Borton tossing the armors down, and armors galore. If you needed something, they have it down here. Just so many different bodies. Can 6 get over there towards his team? He's not going to have his bubble because it's right off the spawn, but that's why you put the armors down at the right place. Huge plays, heads-up plays from Team Vizio.
Yeah, they just had breadcrumbs of armors for him to really play off of just in case. Now he just needs to heal up and loop back up. Wondering if some of this underground is available for them to play off of. It looks like with the pings, they are not able to maintain their position there. Team Tyson find themselves in another top finish here. Top 6, all squads full and healthy. They've got Z Davis setting up the fence lines now to hold down this building. Eventually, though, they might be one of the first teams forced out of their cover. Xset in some trouble now. Kenny getting cracked and forced back is popping a bat for the time being. They are not safe in the zone. They are getting gate kept pretty heavily here.
A lot of our familiar teams popping up here We've seen this before. Xset in a game-winning position over here, but they're going to have to make their way over towards the zone in 30 seconds. Not completely safe. Taking down 00 negative with Z Davis is going to help secure their rotation so they can not have to worry about another team beaming them over towards the side. And they are rocking double rotation composition too. So if anyone can make their way into the zone, it's going to be that phase breach. It's a potential skyward dive if they really, really need to go and do that one. But Tyson is in a great position over here. They have a little bit of this roof that's going to be playable for the next zone before we move into the final zone over here. And this is the kind of the team that they're focusing, right? One team over towards that side. They're kind of getting eyes on where the rest of the players are on the map. You can see with the fences, it makes things just a little bit easier to spot compared to like a caustic with barrels that won't be giving you the angles that you really need. Someone Sinus also finding themselves in a great spot. Good thermite coming in from Key. And he's still got that alternator, Jamerson.
Yeah, they're trying to apply the pressure onto Vizio down below. Right now, Xset ends up losing out on Hakulo. Fortunately, one of the rotation tools out of play for them, essentially, but they end up cleaning up Crummy at the point, allowing Clay to go for that armor swap, but he has to run in with the zone, cannot take a single tick of damage. He will fall. Turns picking that one up. Left now down to a 1v1. Kenny ends up clutching that one up, but here comes the third party from behind, allowing Tyson actually a free rotation in now to try and get involved in this. You can see Z Davis is right on top of him. He picks up that last kill onto Kenny. His 3 final squads remaining, 2 of them already in the fight. Vizio trying to send it on over to running late right now. Later goes down, and there it is, running late. Oh, excuse me, someone Sinus has been knocked out. Sung getting bubble res, but Tyson is right on top of them to finish them off. Big PK onto Bourne to finish him out, and now Team Tyson push in for the death blow. They'll be able to secure the win here in game number 5.
You know, Z Davis's strong suit for the longest time was kind of positioning his team, putting them in the right spot at the right time, playing zones in an unorthodox way. But his mechanics, his shot, his decision making has improved so much. His nice headset work there, Tom. I really love the way Z Davis is playing. I think that he has to be one of our most improved players. We've seen it throughout Series Z, where once you get inside of here, your game kind of skyrockets and rises. And I think we're seeing the rise of a star with Z Davis. I mean, the guy was sitting in that, you know, mid-tier of the pro players and semi-pro players, and now he's looking like a real competitor. You can see the way that he's confidently taking these bubble fights, Jamerson, isn't something that we've seen in the past.
And it's crazy because, of course, he's on the Watson. It's typically not a player that you want to see trying to take those bubble fights up against Gibraltar's, but he takes every single one of them. I mean, he will go ahead and force the issue, and really that kind of confidence does end up kind of spreading out to the rest of the squad. Here's Spectre Esports, our winners from game number 4, going down super early here in game number 5.
And Brandon's trying to make a play right there, maybe catching them off guard by charging out of the bubble, but really the only thing that you could have done was probably bubble peek and try to get some shots in. But you're going against talented players that are literally just scoped in at you and ready for anything that's going to come their way. Intel being taken out a little bit earlier than we're used to, for sure, especially when they are putting up a lot of points in our open lobbies. But it's been a really solid day from both our open teams and our partner teams. I think that it started with our first 2 games having 3 teams of the open teams taking those spots, and now we're seeing teams like Nerf come up big, Tyson's coming up big. And you know, when you expect Intel to dominate these type of lobbies, that's not what we've seen today. We've also seen Razer kind of increase their stock too and kind of take a little bit of a step forward in terms of their confidence, which I love to see from our teams. So a really great day overall. We still have one more game. I can't wait to see what Yeso has to say. I can't wait to look at that Mobile 1 leaderboard, because Jamerson, we're in a situation where it could be anybody's game for game number 6.
Yeah, let's go ahead and send it on over to Yeso to break down game number 5 before we head into the final game of the evening. Yeso, go ahead and take it away.
Tyson turning it on. We talked earlier on about how they only had 1 point through the first 2 games of the day, and they have totally flipped the script here over the last 3. They've picked up 2 victories. They also had another top 3 placing in there. So just like that, the landscape shifting here, at least tonight in Series E. And we talked at the top of the day, right? Vizio and Excedrin having down performances on Tuesday. Well, that is unfortunately for those teams continued into today, I should say. And the teams that are taking the most advantage, Nerf and Tyson. They've both been really good tonight. They both have wins under their belt, and even Intel, who is, hoping to hold on to that first place position, they may be able to just based on the lead that they had going into tonight, but they have certainly struggled here after a strong performance yesterday. So Tyson and Nerf really looking to shake things up again, and with these teams all being so close in the standings, it's not going to take a lot to really change the landscape here on a night-to-night basis. So very much looking forward to taking a peek at those overall standings at the end of tonight. But let's take a look at our stats here from game number 5. Of course, Tyson grabbing the win. Not as big of a performance as we saw from them in game 3, but still a solid showing. They pick up 6 kills for themselves. It's a nice 18 points here, and Tyson just continues to plug along. And look at Joey there, hitting 3,000 damage. Not big in the kills department here, but was definitely putting out the DPS here in this 5th game. And if I'm Tyson, I'm just so curious to see where things have shaken out on the Mobile One leaderboard, because if you're going into game number 6 within spitting distance of Nerf at the top of the standings, it's a huge opportunity for Tyson here, because look, they've had some very solid moments just last week, right? They ended open night, I believe, on Tuesday with a victory in game 6, but weren't able to, of course, take the overall win. And now if Tyson is building on, these little small moments here and there and really kind of putting together a front-to-back performance here, even with the rough start here tonight, this is, again, another big step forward here for Tyson. We'll have to see what they can do. But let's take a look at the Mobile One high-performance moment here for game number 5. And, of course, it's the end game here, and Xset duking it out. We got a good look at them in our Mobile One high-performance moment for game number 4. But this time, it's Tyson rolling in from the cleanup. Nerf into the top 5 once again. No surprise whatsoever there. So that is certainly going to make it more difficult for Tyson to close that gap here. But the thing is, was Tyson took the all-important victory, the Big 12 placement points, which is very integral to their performance the rest of the night. And it's just, I feel like almost every time we get a Z Davis clip, it's Z Davis, PK in hand, pushing through a Gibby bubble, and we see it there once again. They make the play, they grab the win, and they're looking good going into our final game of the day. We're going to one more break here. When we come back, though, last game of the day, Jamerson and T-Squared will get you all up to date on that Mobile One leaderboard, then we'll drop onto Storm Point one final time. When I come back, we'll be finding out who our winners are. So let's go to a break, and we'll be back.
All right, welcome back to Series E. We got one game left to go to decide who ends up walking away with our $350 bonus at the end of the evening. So let's go ahead and check in with the Mobile One leaderboard to see who is currently leading, and it's Nerf, but not by much. We got Tyson 5 points below them there in second place, and Team Intel are within reach as well, 16 points down in third place.
I really have a feeling the way that this is going to play out, Jamerson, is that Intel, because they need to have a big game here, you're going to see them really push the envelope, and it's either going to be they fall completely flat on their face and they don't get anywhere and they die really early, or they're going to come out swinging and have a huge game because Nerf and Tyson are both going to be sitting towards the tail end of the zone. That's how they've been playing. Nerf's been getting in position very early in Storm Point. Tyson with a similar play style too. They're just kind of looking out in the kill feed, trying to figure out what's going on and kind of getting the vibe. Like you said, you have anonymous mode going on, but you just kind of wait and patiently see what's going on, and then you can kind of adapt accordingly. And if you see one team popping off and killing everybody, you have a feeling it's going to be Intel. But still, there's a lot of teams that are available for first place. You could even say Spectre Esports, if they have a pop-off game, and Nerf, Tyson, or Intel could walk away with this. But shout out to a lot of our teams, our open and pro teams coming through here. They put up a really good performance today.
Yeah, for Team Intel and for Spectre Esports, this is going to have to be something like a 16-kill win if they want to try and take that first place spot. And I think for either team, it is definitely possible. More, of course, in favor of Team Intel, although we saw in that last game they were having difficulties trying to find that opening, trying to find the same kind of game plan that they ran with yesterday. Still, though, I am not going to ever count out Team Intel. We'll see if they can keep the streak alive. But let's join on board once again here in Tyson Week in our final game of the week for Tyson Week with Team Tyson, who has ended up with 2 wins so far today.
2 wins.
So let's join on board with them here on Storm Point.
And remember, they started off with a breadstick after the first 2 games, which isn't very Tyson-like. I'm not sure, what they're thinking. They should be coming out strong because they are a fully capable team. But within, what, is that 3 games? They've dropped 62 points, Jamerson. That's insane.
Yeah, it was a really rough start for the day. The first 2 games not going extremely well whatsoever for them, but they have definitely bounced back. And I'm glad that, they have that kind of tenacity, that they have that kind of spirit. A lot of teams, after 2 games would be completely dejected. Instead, they use it as an opportunity. It looks like Team Intel getting their first kills of the game so far. It's going to be Biscuits and Crackers again, but it's Razor as well, finding themselves in a fight right now. You see Box T trying to push up. May's going to keep them at bay. Gizzard's just going to go ahead and full push on in. They take the 2v1 up against that Horizon. The Seer slides on in. GAD about to get knocked out here. That's Ace falling as Razor. They keep Box T alive as they try to finish off the third. On the other side, W Key ends up getting cleaned up by Team Intel, so that's going to be the first +3 for them. A lot more kills they're going to need if they want to try and take back first place.
No doubt about it. This is a great 50-50, though, for Razor. And they continue to impress today, as that is all she wrote. And Gizzard McIntosh, the second, because there was one before him, is going to take that one. But here comes that third party. As expected, big shots, but unfortunately not having a secondary weapon is going to cost big time right there. A little bit of a misfire for McIntosh with that Mozam. Not the easiest gun to go and use in this type of situation, but it doesn't matter. Intelligence goes down, and Razor continues to pick up some points on the board. Will they have to deal with a 4th party coming through? Looks like they are safe for now. It's nice, we're not in a Bloodhound meta, because that's typically when you see a Bloodhound come and scan you, right when you're hitting that res.
That is such an odd timing for the third party of Intelligence Gaming. Over at Launchpad, typically you don't see, 3 teams over there. So was it just a super fast rotate down from Stormcatcher, or were they just trying to get some loot early on? I have no idea, but yeah, that's a great recovery coming out from Razor, able to survive that third party there. Team Intel do have all of Barometer to themselves. We'll see if they want to try and swing back down south. We do get a look at the ring. This one's going to be a North Pad checkpoint ring for our final game of the day.
While that was happening, Nerf picks up a couple of kills, so that's 3 more points for them, which is not good for Tyson and Intel. Find out exactly what Intel's plan is going to be. Look at them. They're moving down towards the south, actually. We're going to have to keep tabs on what's going on. And right on cue. Look at the observers, man. That's just chef kiss. I don't even have to mention anything. They're on top of it.
Straight into shipfall, straight into those headshots there as James Fearless, of course, always the first in the line. Doesn't care that he's nearly cracked. He's got that gold armor. Charging forward now. Bubble's already been used by this squad. Azath will fall, and James Fearless still not even taking the time to heal up. Only has the Arcstar for this door. Now, as Impulse comes in with the flank, they will clean up MLPL. This is the pace we know Team Intel for.
Nice job from Intel. Understanding the situation, they need kill points. Instead of letting that team rotate towards them, they go to them instead, and take him out basically immediately. There was zero hesitation from Fearless. Even when he needed to hit cells, he goes and elects to take to the sky and add more pressure because he understands that the amount of time that they need to heal, especially with him having gold armor, is just not going to be enough. And this early into the game, sometimes teams don't even have batteries. So the fact that they would need to sell up and he has gold is the right move and perfect execution. But that flank was just so well executed, right? He covers the door, forces those players up the stairs. They think they're safe. Boom, you come around the corner and they're in your face. That's what Intel's all about.
Now, one brain, 2 MNK, just holding the angle now, seeing if anyone wants to try and challenge them up here on this height. They should be relatively safe, though, utilizing this Bloodhound. I mean, that's always a Game 6 turn. And speaking of turns on Nerf. Actually going for the Bangalore here. I don't believe he was playing this one across the first 2 games on Stormpoint, but they might be looking just to get into some scraps.
That's pretty ballsy from the Nerf squad. They've already secured some points, and they could easily just slow play this one. Excedrin is having a kind of wishy-washy day, I guess. It's been an interesting turn of events for them because while they've been able to look good individually, there's been times where they've been a little bit split apart from each other. Bubble's going to come down. Looks like this fight and engagement is going to happen. Meanwhile, Cruisin's looking off in towards the skies with the 30-30. He's like, oh, wait, this is a team over here? Yeah, they pulled them on top of us. Good opportunity to shoot these players in the back. Not able to connect with all of the shots, but still a decent amount of damage onto them. Do they want to take that portal? It's a risky play. Instead, they're just going to foot it all the way up there and maybe towards the hill. But you can see just how much open area they're going to have to cover.
Over at Barometer, Intel, find another fight. This might be Vizio on the other side of this one. You can see the black hole's already been cleared, and Fearless gets focused down, using that grab lift to try and use the movement to get out of dodge. Quick healing up with that gold armor. Melee out, and that's going to be key going down. Big shots with the PK, and oh my goodness, Team Intel. They do end up cleaning up that squad. Someone sign us going down, and Impulse gets rezzed right back into things. Team Intel not slowing down one bit throughout all of that. Running late. Ends up getting cleaned up by Xset as well. The third party already coming in, though. Vizio now coming in for this fight at the mills. Pushing forward the black hole, slowing things down just a little bit. 6 goes try to find that flank. One player already knocked here. Sees that there might have been an armor swap for one, so leaves them a little bit cautious, but they will go ahead and push in together as a team. Secure the thirst on the ground in just a moment. Sung gets absolutely demolished. They're still alive, though. Borden trades out with him. It's a full 3-mat up top, and unfortunately, Borden gets caught in an animation. Doesn't matter, though. They still get 2 knocks. Spectre Esports are taken out. 6 needs to heal up, though, or to get rezzed up, and they need the armor swaps for him. Looks like they will be safe for the time being. We know that just down to the south at Barometer, that was where Team Intel were. Just waiting for the third party right now.
Does no one want to help your boy 6 out, Jamerson? You called for the res to happen. They're like, you know what, we're going to hit a Phoenix kit. We'll get you a little bit later. Not like Gibraltar's important for stopping third parties coming through, but full healing is definitely a play if you wanted to go and defend him, because sometimes you feel like the res could be a bait, but this is the pace that we would expect. 10 squads already eliminated, 10 squads remaining. Intel is looking very strong. We have to point out that team fight and highlight how they were able to win that one. I mean, Fearless looks like he was going down. And if you don't take Fearless out and he's got the gold armor, that's what's going to happen. The bubble came down from Mooney. The baiting and switching was taking place. And they were just masterful in the approach of that situation. And it was very methodical in what Team Intel, again, is all about, which is winning these skirmishes. You got to be a little bit concerned right now if you're Nerf or Tyson, because one, Tyson's not really finding any type of extra points with 10 kills or 10 squads remaining, and then Nerf's already put some kills on the board. It's going to be Mars Streams going down. 6 is going to get that one. You can see a great missile swarm coming through from Borton. Looks like that's going to be an easy kill onto MJ as well, who played one heck of a Horizon today. So shout out to Most Hated. Also shout out to Running Late. Running Late winning game number 1. Unfortunately, they are eliminated now from game number 6, our final game of the day here on Stormpoint.
Yeah, Tyson just going to classically slow play this one up on that north pad side. We have the main building held down. We do have a defensive bombardment being used that Ultimate being cleared the interception pylon just a little bit late, but they still apply pressure at the very least, stop them from encroaching upon this main building here as they back away. Team Intel haven't moved that far up north, still just looking for these fights. They should have about 8, maybe 9 kill points to their name, taking an opportunity actually for a pit stop to farm up on these Prowlers, which honestly, I don't know if they even need to do that. They've been doing so well about farming their evos just off of fights themselves. Z Davis in a little bit of trouble there, but they do end up securing that kill onto Lumdum now. Joey Blackout on the left-hand side, applying a little bit of pressure here, but Z Davis will be able to back out safely with the help of his Gibraltar and his Valkyrie now. But Tyson just doing a great job, just maintaining this position here on the north side. The ring should continue to pull to them. We know, make it to the late game, the kills come your way.
No doubt about it, and that's kind of been their style the entire time too, so pretty impressive stuff from our top 3 partnered teams, all still duking it out. It's Intel, it's Tyson, and Nerf, kind of in reverse order as well from 3, 2, 1, the way that they were mentioned. Vizio now looking for some shots still. 6 has been playing really good today, as always, but it looks like he has to back off and heal. Oh my, Borton's been so nasty with his 30-30 today.
Yeah, his 30-30 has been keeping teams at bay. It looks like it might be Excedrin on the other side of this fight. You have that white flank coming out, and you can see Excedrin want to try and isolate that player that was on the left, but I'm going to have to regroup. Defensive bombardment has been utilized as well, but no connects quite yet. Kim Chili getting challenged on the right, needs the help of the rest of his squad. Urban taking a lot of damage while he was in the skies now, backing away. Either side going for the reset. Cruisin is just anchoring from that back line. Excedrin not liking this fight anymore. That grab was used, but it looks like Vizio will be able to back away for now and try to reestablish a position further back where they'll have some better angles on them. 6 getting taken down a little bit low, forcing out the bubble extremely quickly here. Another team showing up from that checkpoint side. That third party they've got to be careful with, but Sung is doing a great job of keeping them at bay with that flatline right now. I'm wondering if that's maybe possibly Team Intel coming in to try and find another fight.
Most likely going to be Intel because they want as many points as possible. Turns goes down. You can see Forsey is thirsted from Xset. That's going to be Klain. Not good for our team sitting in first place, as now Excedrin's starting to collapse over from behind. A lot of broken squads over here as Turns gets thirsted too. Now it's going to have to be a rat maneuver from the Nerf squad, and now that presents opportunities for both Team Intel and Tyson. Remember, our 4th place team is eliminated as well. Spectre Esports, shout out to them again for a great performance from one of our open squads. But today seems to be a partnered day on our open day, and we'll find out which team is going to be able to win that one. And it's going to be very close, Jamerson, because we know Nerf got some points on the board. They're still alive. We'll see how long they could rat it out, but this is going to be a crazy turn of events.
And this is zone number 2, so there's a world where Crummy can go back, pick up the banners. You can see right now in the next zone, there's still 3 respawn beacons still available for him. So there is a world that he can get his plays back right on. Exactly, so many for him to utilize here. And with so many teams dead, it might be relatively free for him. We do have about 4 squads currently inside of the ring right now. We are getting teams starting to fall in towards the southwest side. You can see Cruisin is still alive with their Vizio looking to gatekeep from the southwest. 1 rat surviving in between the 2 of them currently. Excedrin looking for their way on in, and they're keeping an eye on Vizio throughout all of this over at the Down Beast. Tyson, though, again, just playing their own game. They are just maintaining this position where they think the ring should be pulling towards. Be able to play off of that, handing over heals to each other just to be pals. But of course, they can always rely upon that interception pylon of Z Davis if they need to try and trade for damage. And they do need to start putting in some work right now. Still sitting on blues at this point in the game. This is a bit of a struggle for Team Tyson.
This game's going to slow down a little bit now that we've gotten into the top 10 and the placement points are kicking in just a little bit. But Intel's going to try to keep that pace up. You saw on the mini-map that they were flanking around, and it was Fearless making his way around that mountain, moving from west to north. Eventually going to find some action onto Cruisin and squad, so Excedrin's going to have to be looking out and checking their back eventually. 1 Brain, 2 MNK is locking things down. Like this zone and the way that it kind of sets up Reminds me a little bit of like Kings Canyon, you know, like airbase vibes when you set up in the very back over there and you're waiting for the rest of the teams to kind of push forward. But now Razor is finding themselves in a pretty decent position too. You can see already 4 kills there. And if you're wondering what was going on with the respawn banners, they've timed out for nerf. Now Crummy's gonna again have to rat this one out. It's a little third-person point of view.
Yeah, he's gonna walk in with this one as the ring starts closing in about 45 seconds. Try to get an early position at the very least. Razor though, in the middle of launch pad right now. They got to be careful playing inside these tunnels. You leave yourself quite vulnerable actually. The team's peeking from either side. For Xset though, they've cleared out Bursty, taken out one. I believe one more might have fallen on that squad, and that's why they've got this high ground angle to try and utilize. And he just getting his red Evo shield for himself with that 30-30. We've been seeing a lot of great 30-30 shots. Bursty getting re-knocked by Hakulo. And Vizio, another team applying some pressure onto them here on the north side. We'll see if they can secure the rest of these kills. There's Pop-Tart going down. Now they are left with one player remaining on that squad. As Bursty did get finished off, we'll see if Pop-Tart gets thirsted as well. It looks like Razor are getting a little bit hungry for those kills, but Gizzard's going to have to fall back here as he's dropped down low. Again, this is why this position can be so scary to play off of. You get pinched from either side and you have no escape.
Heads up play, everyone turns around and ends up shooting the black hole, but not having a Gibraltar in these situations is so difficult. There goes the collapse. Razor goes out in 9th place. Nerf gets taken down too. That's going to be Fearless finding Crummy as he takes over that kill lead. So now Intel and Tyson standing a chance, a very good chance of taking over first place over here. And this is exactly what you expected, Jamerson, from Intel. And you get a little bit worried for the rest of these partnered squads that are ahead of them. What's going to potentially happen over here is a mobile respawn beacon directly in front of Vizio and also being called in over towards the back of the map there as they're all over the place. Too bad Crummy wasn't able to get those banners and stay alive. Otherwise, Nerf would be right back in here.
Yeah, it was just very unfortunate. It looked like he had to use his Valkyrie ultimate just to get out of there, so never getting the opportunity to pick up those banners. But now with Nerf gone, like you said, Intel and Tyson, maybe the two teams that we're looking at, trying to climb themselves up into first place. And that's going to help you getting that respawn in. That's going to be another kill, another point that you can pick up for Team Intel. But more importantly now, they need to make sure they secure that plus 12. They have at least 9 kill points. Don't know how much exactly they have, but this is a great start for them. Team Tyson, though, they've got the Kravers in hand. They're keeping an eye on the south. That is where they are. That's Team Intel losing out on Fearless. Z Davis now forcing the issue, playing super aggressive on this, the Watson itself. But now Vizio taking the fight to Excedrin underneath. They've lost out on one. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. Gordon dropped down low, but he's still going to go for the challenge. Excedrin knocked out.
Wow.
Now Tyson turning back around, not going to chase after the kills onto Team Intel. And you can see Vizio even getting the opportunity to reset down below.
It was a very interesting situation because you saw the immediate knock and then the challenge, but the respect was coming out too along the way. And also the understanding of, I feel like this is kind of what Tyson is learning on how to do, right? They get these knocks or they find these situations where they take the fights and they end up kind of throwing the game away. But you have the position over here and, you know, the kills can eventually come to you. Like you were talking about earlier, the longer you get into the game, the smaller the circle gets. You're going to have these opportunities, right? So while you do have a little bit of advantage in that fight, is it worth it? Are you going to get third-partied? It really depends, and I think that Tyson makes the right play of backing off over here because you can see there's another team, great shot there from Z Davis. There's another team that could potentially just filter right in behind you and take that spot, which is a god spot, but it's also a potential third party for when you go and take the fight. So I like that play from Tyson. I think that the discipline is really strong.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, we would have seen them just go full send on him, but now it's going to be Team Intel actually make the push onto Tyson here. Forcing out the bubble early on. There are nades behind them. They've got to be careful with that one, and it looks like Fearless is just going to keep them at bay. Backing out. Thermite in. Craver shot misses. Z Davis backs away. Fence line set up once more. Another line of defense as Tyson are just trying to bait them backwards and play off of the sight lines. Instead, getting challenged from above. Z Davis almost goes down there, but he's able to retreat back into his setup as Fearless gets the knock onto ICRVR. Team Tyson might be knocked out early. Joey Blackout is trying to fight back, but now it's only up to Z Davis left here to try and rat things out. He's already given up on the squad, and there it is. Team Tyson gets knocked out by Xset and by Team Intel, but it's not over yet for Team Intel. They still need to secure the plus 12 if they want to make sure that they get the win today. Xset, will they stand in their way? We're down to 5 squads remaining. Might be a rat still surviving here in the late game.
Jeez, Team Intel, man. It's nice watching their point of view, but watching it from the other point of view is just as disgusting. I mean, you saw what Tyson's thought process was. Z Davis with some great back down plays. Good bubble from Joey. I like the Kraber play from Z Davis as well, really trying to gain an advantage in that fight. But you blink for a second, Fearless grab lifts up towards the top, and then he catches you not looking at him. And the dude doesn't miss when you're not looking at him. So he just completely rips these players apart. And then they just collapse perfectly. And even though the shots were connecting and the PK was beautiful, it doesn't matter. Intel just wins that fight even without getting a player knocked. And they have so many kill points on the board. But it's all about getting that extra 12 like you were talking about and making sure they secure the stub.
Intel versus Vizio might be our next fight. There is the third-party threat from the rat on the outside. You can see Sane out there. He hasn't been spotted quite yet, but the ring will force them into Team Intel right now. Impulse, go ahead and swap off and give himself an extra armor swap. And I'm surprised that Intel aren't pulling out these armors and maybe trying to use some of the extra heals if they can. Scans out, Xset are known to be up there anyhow, so I'm surprised they go for the scan there. But you can see it's basically come down to the forced teams. And so if Xset take the fight up against Pop-Tart, Oski, and Bursty, that's going to allow Vizio and Intel to have an isolated fight in their own regards there. Here it is, the final ring closing up, and now we're going to have that slow ring of ring number 6 in just a minute.
4 squads all full. You can see from the math in your top right. And it's going to be really Xset with a huge advantage because they're just going to watch these teams kind of duke it out, and they can filter and position these players towards each other. There's the wingman shots you're looking for from Fearless. He's got the car in his back pocket too. All stacked with red armor. All the weapons have the exact attachments that you're looking for. But on the other side, 1 Brain, 2 MNK, they're in pretty good position too. Yeah, they don't have the 3 reds like you do on the other side, but you have a couple of different options here with the Bloodhound scans working with Bursty in conjunction with the Bangalore smoke. Could be pretty fun to utilize towards the tail end of this game.
Yeah, we'll see how much value they can get off the Rolling Thunder as well. If they can force out the early Gibraltar bubbles at this point. But like you said, Xset are in just such a great position. They are, though, the first team forced out of this ring, unfortunately. And they're not able to actually catch anyone peeking, so the opening's not quite there for them. They go for that drop down. It's a little risky, but they have a small corner to play off of. Fearless keeping an eye on them for the time being. But Intel have to be careful about tunneling onto this squad here. Here comes the Black Hole, though, with the Arc Star in. You can see only one person getting out of that one. The Arc Star connects, and Kenny will go down. Intel are just getting some free kills here. No team ready to peek them quite yet, but Impulse has dropped low. Fearless has to be careful. That's Clane going down. Xset are eliminated. It's our final 3 squads remaining. Mooney will bubble down just a little bit early. That's going to signal Vizio to push in to try and take advantage of this one. Mooney going down. Black Hole right on top of them. Sung with another big PK shot. Not able to take out Impulse quite yet, but it's just a matter of time. As that bubble goes down, Fearless will fall. 6 has fallen, and now is going to be 1 Brain, 2 MNK pushing forward with that Rolling Thunder. The knock onto Sung, and 1 Brain, 2 MNK looking to finish things off. Born cornered by himself. All 3 members barreling down on top of him. They will secure the last win of the day. Now the big question is, was Team Intel able to secure their 3rd win in a row here in Series E?
They got 3rd place in this game. That may not be enough points, even though the kill points were looking good. It's going to be so close. I am so glad I'm not having to do the math with the admins on this one. We saw Nerf getting taken out a little bit early. Crummy tried to rat it out. We saw the fight of Intel going up against Tyson. That was a phenomenal job by Intel, but that's kind of what you anticipated, right? You thought that they were going to play a little bit passive. Intel knew the situation that they had to pick up a lot of points, but this is what has made Intel such a strong team, that when they force themselves to play like that, that's when they shine. And yeah, they didn't walk away with the dub, but they walked away with a ton of kill points.
And when it comes down to them just calling the shots, calling the fights, they are able to move together in such a coordinated effort. It's incredible to see how quickly they pull the trigger on a fight time and again. We saw some signs of life out of Razor here throughout today's games, which is an excellent, I think, relief for all of us who are hoping that, you know, they don't just kind of like fall down to 6th place hell in purgatory where they just can't catch up. Today has been a great day so far for Razor in terms of catching up on points. It's still, you know, 100 points they were down by up against the 5th place squad, but they have definitely cut into that at the very least.
No doubt about it. And it was just a great day of Apex from not only our partner teams, but our open teams. We saw some pro open teams coming through like XSET. So shout out to, again, everybody that competed. We're seeing some rising stars and some rising players, individuals that we've never really seen play before and casted before. And it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, and so after 6 games, I mean, we're just left wondering, was Intel able to secure their 3rd win in a row, their 3rd bonus in a row just before we head into the 4th of July weekend? Well, that's all up to Yeso to break down. So Yeso, go ahead and close out the show for us, buddy.
Hell of a way to close out the night there. One brain, 2 M&K grabbed the victory in our final game. And the fun part is there's some math to be done here. I'm not exactly sure how things are going to shake out on the top of that Mobile One leaderboard, but I know it's going to be a tight finish there. Intel with an opportunity. They got into the late game, but they still had some ground to make up. They weren't nearly as close as Tyson were with that 5-point gap between Tyson and Nerf at the top of the standing. So we'll see how things shook out there momentarily. But first, let's take a look at our champion squad here for our final game of the day. One more time, production. No champion squad. How about a Mobile One high performance moment? How about that? We can take a look at that. Production says, yeah, let's do it. The Mobile One high performance moment. Our final one of the game of the day here, I should say, as words fail me momentarily. But James Fearless just with a nice solo play here, and you know, the black hole allows him to do so, stepping forward with this wingman at mid-range and just wreaking havoc on XSET there. Only gets, I believe, 1 kill credit out of that push, but it ends up being nice there for Intel. Of course, his team gets pushed on pretty quickly afterwards, and this is Vizio setting up Intel, knocking them down pretty quickly here. They get all of that KP, and then it was just 1 brain, 2 M&K in for the final push. They get the 3rd party, they get the cleanup. Borton the only one left alive here, and Bursty just doesn't miss there. Gets the friendly help from his teammate, and they're able to take him out. But it all starts off just with a really well-placed black hole, the follow-up with the Arc Star, and you just see that Arc Star go off, and the health bars are almost non-existent here for XSET. And Intel started off 1 brain, 2 M&K. Finish it off here as Vizio get a solid finish to end the day. They struggled again. I said it earlier, not the best week from them this time around, but at least closing with a 2nd place finish and some good KP. That's going to feel nice on the overall leaderboard. So well played from them. And yeah, Bursty with that R301, even at close range, doesn't matter much. There's 2 brains, 1 M&K grab the victory. Do we have our mobile? What do we have? Let's take the leaderboard. Let's do it. Let's take the final look at our Mobile One leaderboard here to end the day. See how things shook out there, and it's going to be a tie at the top. Intel and Nerf. Do we have an answer on the tiebreaker here? We are finding out right now. So Intel and Nerf tied at 73 points. Tyson close, but not enough here. They'll finish 5 points back of first place, but still a really good showing. And Vizio's strong finish jumps them up into the top 4. They jump ahead of Spectre Esports here. And a solid finish for the squad that was, especially in the first half today, not putting up impressive results. So well done there. And oh, I have word from production here. Nerf wins the tiebreaker, so Intel just barely doesn't make it 3 nights in a row. Nerf finally gets their names at the top of the leaderboard. They grab the win. Well played there. If we could take a look then at our overall leaderboard here, that would be wonderful if you have that one for me, production, because I'm very curious how this changes the complexion there. And there it is. So Team Intel with a great showing, grow that lead. They're up by 41 points, but Nerf slowly working their way north on this leaderboard. They're now in 2nd place. They jump ahead of Vizio. Excedrin down to 4th, and Team Tyson closing that gap big time. They are right on Excedrin's heels. Even Vizio well within striking distance. So it has been a very tight race so far this season. And if you look overall, Excedrin has won so far this season. Vizio has won, Nerf has won, Intel has won. Just Tyson and Razor yet to grab an overall victory this season. But both squads, and especially Tyson, seem right on the border of being able to do so. So congratulations to Nerf. Big performance from them tonight. Very consistent all throughout, and they grab a well-deserved win. And Intel, though, making them earn it there at the very end. That is going to do it for us here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for coming to hang out. I hope you enjoyed this week of Series E Apex Legends. Remember, we're still here the next 2 nights. Guilty Gear Strive tomorrow, Halo Infinite on Friday, so don't miss out on that. 4 p.m. Pacific time right here at twitch.tv/esports arena. My name is Yeso. I've been your host for tonight. I hope you all had so much fun. I definitely did. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.